And welcome here to Loudon, New Hampshire for tonight's broadcast from NuffWORLD TV of the NuffRADIO 301. NuffRADIO, rock your face off here with Nuff TV. So, NuffWORLD TV, excuse me, we got a lot of drivers out here tonight looking for, that trophy to take home. You know, some of the perennial favorites we have to be looking at tonight, though, I would have to say is at number 27, Jeremy Enix. Jeremy has currently 5 starts here at New Hampshire and currently finishing position on average is a 2.2 finishing at for position. He's 2 wins here and 5 top 5s and 5 starts here, so he's definitely got going to be a favorite to look at tonight. Some of the others though to kind of look at too, some guys to kind of keep your eye on throughout the night, are Frankie Tomato, who also in that 23 machine, who has an average finish here of 7th place, and another one, Jovan Cherry, out there in that number 20 car, he's got an average finish of 8. So some guys to kind of keep a lookout here tonight. They run this race here, 301 laps here to 1 mile speedway asphalt here in Loudon, New Hampshire. So look at this real exciting racing coming forward here tonight. A lot of these guys out there taking their warm-up laps right now. We're seeing a lot of different lines out of some of these guys. Everybody's trying to work that high line just a little bit. There's no real high line. It's really a 2-groove racetrack. So some of these guys, trying to work that higher line, getting it to work in for themselves. There's going to be a lot of guys going to have to make that outside line work. So, in order to make things work here tonight, tonight's pole award winner, Travis McKinney. I think that's his first pole of the year here in NuffWORLD. So, I want to say congratulations to tonight's TV Creative Design pole award winner, Travis McKinney. So, he'll be definitely leading them down to the stripe to take the green flag tonight in NuffRADIO 301. But let's talk about some of the things tonight there, Stephen. What do you think you want to see here tonight?
It's going to be a really good race. It's going to be a tough race, though, because these guys are going to have to pass on the bottom. They're definitely going to have to watch their braking points. It's going to be hard to pass later on in the race once they give it that position up, something like that. That should be a good one.
Right, you are. And tell you what, let's take it off now. Let's roll in, get our national anthem here. Get these guys. When we get back, we should have the starting grid ready to go for you, and we'll be ready to go some live racing here on NuffWORLD TV from Loudon, New Hampshire. Well, stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we won were so gallantly streaming, and the against red glare the bombers singing air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And welcome back here to Loudon, New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway here for tonight's running of the NuffRADIO 301 presented by NuffWORLD TV. Looking forward to, like I said, a lot of green flag racing here. The guys are getting ready to take the grid and such. Like I say, I want to say one more congratulations to Travis McKinney, tonight's TB Creative Designs Pole Award winner. But, I want to talk about a couple of things here real quick as we get ready to go green. One of the things, Stephen, we talked about during, the early part of this is, some of the keys to race going to be taking care of those tires tonight.
Yeah, I'll be most definitely taking care of some tires tonight. I think fuel will be at a maximum tonight, and tires will be the equalizer between a lot of these guys.
Right, you are, and kind of roll off here, go down the grid line here, like we talked about tonight's TB Creative Designs Pole Award winner. We'll be starting off tonight in the number 1 position, be the number 42 of Travis McKinney. Starting on his outside in the 2nd position will be the number 15 of Darren Benz. Rolling off 3rd tonight will be the 33 of Mr. Ben Bando. Rolling off 4th in the number 83 will be Timmy St. Jean. 5th rolling off tonight will be the 16 of Brian Lee. Alongside him will be the 23 of Frankie Samato. Rolling out in the 7th place position tonight, our young rookie who's been having himself a great season over here, Kevin Kelly Jr. in that number 87 machine. Rolling off outside him at 8th position will be the 48 of Dominic Del Russo. Rolling off in 9th tonight will be the number 27 of Mr. Dale Reynolds. And running out the top 10 alongside him tonight will be the 08 of Danny Gutierrez. Rolling off 11th will be the number 29 of Jeremy Enix, which we talked about in the pre-show, the perennial odds-on favorite here tonight. Rolling off in 12th to his outside will be the 4 of Dennis Wright. Rolling off 13th tonight, the number 1 of William Robinson. Rolling off to his outside will be the 67 of Kevin Buchanan. Rolling out to 15th tonight will be the number 12 of Jerry Hinkle. And looks like we just got the flag here. These guys are starting to roll here, so we didn't have a chance really to get through the entire starting lineup there. Sorry for that, guys. It's a short track, and it doesn't take them long to get around this track. So, we're off the green. Looks like Travis McKinney has already took that number 42 and rolled on through, rolling out into the number 1 position. Ben Bando in that 33, though, has been able to move by Darren Benz in that number 15 machine, take over the 2nd place position, and looks like Darren is being challenged right now for the 3rd place position by Brian Lee in that 16 machine. So some of these guys are, already starting to mix it up a little bit and move forward. Looks like we got a lot of racing. These guys are, trying to sort things out, get down on that inside line as quickly as they can, start single filing out here pretty soon. But Travis McKinney, leading the way, leading that first lap, and followed right behind him with Ben Bando. So these guys are, starting, like I said, to settle down, get into a single file as best they could when they could, and, that'll allow for a lot of great racing here. So, whoa, looks like we got a 3 wide almost there coming down the front stretch. So some of these guys are starting to peek around, make some moves already and change positions. But, as they get down into that turn 1 there, like we talked about earlier in the pre-race, this is really a 2-groove track. You have that down inside lane there, and you have a 2nd groove right above that, and that's where you'll pretty much see about everyone here tonight. So these guys, starting to get into those 2 grooves and starting to fan down like we talked about into that single file groove now, and looks like Jeremy Enix up there on the outside, number 29, is still trying to get that 2nd groove to work for him right now to get around the 87 of Kevin Kelly Jr. And, right now he's doing all he can to make it happen. He's getting the good run off the top 5, so he's able to hold that momentum. Clears the number 87, getting down into the turn 3 there as they continue, and that'll be another position that Enix will pick up there, moving him up into the 9th place position. So, Jeremy Enix, like we talked about earlier in the pre-race, first one already moving forward. He's up to 9th now. He'll be making some moves quickly, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. And, it took him a while but the 87 of Kelly Jr., he started up there a little bit closer to the front, and he held those guys on the inside for a while, and, they were 2 wide, but I definitely think we'll see a lot of single file racing right now here early. I think a lot of these guys will be giving up a lot of positions, and, just give and take. We have 301 laps here at New Hampshire, so definitely there should be a lot of give and take early.
Right, yeah, right now is definitely the time. I mean, the track temperature, is really one of those things that plays into the night. It's going to rise throughout the day, too, as this race goes on. And these cars are going to start to loosen up as that track starts to heat up, too. So, that's one of the things you guys will see. Some of the guys may be tight right now, but this track, heats up throughout the day. And, these cars will start to get a little bit looser, and you'll see that bottom line be able to really work itself in, I think. And, it might be just a tad more looser, for those guys that get too loose. They're definitely going to move up into that second group where they can try to make their best possible time as they can.
We got a spin in turn 1.
Yeah, we'll have to get back and take a look at that. Didn't quite see who that was, but, these guys are definitely slowing up quick-like and getting down to it. So, a lot of good racing there. We got started off, so, first 7 laps complete and in the books, so looks like we had a pretty good one back there in the pack. Looks like it even involved number 34, Ben Britton.
Yeah, and then we're going to pull up the replay here in just a second.
And if you remember in last week's broadcast, Ben Britton had himself a real good run there last week after Brian Lee had to exit early, due to some unforeseen car issues. So Britton now only 9 points back of the leader in second position, so in the points. So that's definitely, if he hurts that car tonight, going to hurt his chances there in the position.
Yeah, it looked like the 54 of Charles Chapman just got a little bit sideways, going out of turn 2. And that's where he lost, just lost it off of turn 2. There's a bump right there in that area that you got to be careful on, and every once in a while it just come around.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting characteristics here of Loudon, New Hampshire, this New Hampshire Speedway. As you go into turn 1, you'll see a lot of these guys going into turn 1 tonight. You'll see smoke come up off the tires because as you go down into turn 1, there is a bump getting in there, and a lot of time these guys are on the brakes, getting slowed down for that turn 1 turn. And they hit that bump, and it causes it to wheel hop just a little bit, so you'll see smoke coming off the tires. But just like you said, Steven, there's also another little bump coming there off of turn 2, and there's another one coming off of turn 4, and that's where it's going to get tricky for these guys tonight.
Yeah, and that turn 1, going into turn 1 at the speed that you are, and whenever you're hitting on those brakes going in, you have a tendency for a wheel hop, and if you get into that wheel hop, the best bet is just to let off the gas, let it roll through, let that back right tire stop from, bouncing on the tracks the best you can, and then roll through. But, that had nothing to do with the incident. It looked like he just got up in that second lane, lost a little bit of grip, and lost it coming out of turn 2, which is a big unfortunate incident for the 34. Like you said, he came in here 9 points behind the points leader, and it's definitely going to put a hinder on it. But this is a good place to do it if you're going to do it anywhere. This is New Hampshire, so, damage is really not going to be that big of a deal here. I mean, it shouldn't slow them down too much.
Right, you are. That is one of the good things about it being here at New Hampshire. That damage isn't going to hurt them as much as it would, at some other tracks, per se, as much as like next week there at Daytona. So, looks like though while the pace car, was going around, and looks like we had pretty much about all of the front runners did hit the pit, except for Timmy St. Jean and Dale Reynolds. Looks like Timmy's staying out. He must be very comfortable in his car. I mean, only 7 laps right there on that run, on the tires. So looks like he's going to stay out and try to lead a few laps, get some bonus points. And as we get ready to come around, looks like we just got the 1 to go there. So Travis McKinney will now be moved back to the number 2 position in that number 42 machine, followed by Darren Benj, Ben Bando, and Brian Lee rounding out the top 5. So, and looks like Timmy's going to take that inside line when they come down for this green flag restart here. So we'll see how that inside line, it seemed to work out real well for Travis McKinney on that first restart. It looks like it really got going quickly.
Yeah, and I think really if you've got new tires, either lane is going to work for these guys tonight. Within the first couple laps, you can pass on that outside. But since Timmy doesn't have, fresh tires like the rest of these guys, you've got to watch that. So definitely a smart lane choice, I believe.
Right you are on that. As they come around out of turn 4 here, should be getting the green flag here. The green flag does fly now, and Timmy's got that car rolling, and that 83 machine is out there in the lead. McKinney up on the outside. But looks like McKinney got into the corner really well. We're still side by side. So. But coming off the corner there, looks like Timmy St. Jean was able to get to the gas a lot earlier and clears McKinney, moves up in front of him, and takes that number 1 position as they head off into turn 3 with Ben Bando. Whoa, looks like they got out of that corner there. Looks like Bando may have gotten into the bumper there. Travis
he definitely got in the bumper.
Yeah, a lot of checkup going there into turn 3, and that'll be one of the things you'll see a lot of tonight because you got to check up so quick and so heavy into these corners coming off those long straightaways right there. As you just saw right there, you know, that can cause some havoc for some of these drivers.
Yeah, you got to definitely watch those braking points, or else, you know, you're going to end up either spinning someone or even getting spun. So it definitely, that was a good save by both of those guys, the 42 and 33 of Travis McKinney and Bando.
Yeah, and as these guys up here in the front have already single-filed everything out, looks like most of the pack is still back there. Looks like 6, 7, 8 on back. These guys are still running too wide, so you know, a lot of these guys are still trying to stick that inside groove, get the guys stuck up on that outside. Looks like right now you can tell which car that was. I just saw it through my screen right there, but the braking Tomato in that 23 has been hung up on the high side out there. He's able to get back down now and move in front of Wildrick and Brian Lee there. But he was out there on the high side for quite some time, making it work. But guys are still testing underneath. So a lot of guys are already starting to test that inside line to see if they can pass right now. As track temperature, we talked about that a little bit earlier during our first green flag run. I'm sitting here looking at the track temperature right now. That track temperature has already went up 6 degrees out there on the track in just the first 14 laps we've run here. So it's already starting to heat up out there on the track, which is, you know, as it continues to heat up throughout the day, it's going to affect the handling of some of these cars.
Yeah, and you know, speaking, Timmy St. Jean fell back to the 3rd spot, so definitely tires are going to play an issue tonight. You know, these guys are he's already fell back 3 positions. I don't think he'll fall back too much further, you know, with only 7 laps, something like that, but Travis McKinney trying to put the force out on the track really early tonight.
Yeah, and Timmy's, you know, in doing that, Timmy will probably learn a lot of valuable knowledge, you know, as far as, you know, he stayed out there, he only had about, you know, 7 or 8 laps on those tires, but to see, you know, for later on in a race, kind of an experiment early is, that would pay off, you know, just to see if it comes down towards the end and, you know, they have a lot of green flags running and then, you know, a quick couple of bursts there of caution, you know, whether or not he can be able to stay out and hold some of these guys off. So it may be something he's experimenting with there, just try to get an idea for later on in the race.
Absolutely, and this is the best time to be doing something like that. You know, you don't want to be doing something like that, you know, at 150 of 301 laps. That could actually put you in danger of, you know, losing way too many positions early. So right now is the best time to choose a strategy like that, figure out what you can do with the car, how long these tires will hold up compared to everybody else who has fresh tires. So definitely a smart decision to do it early tonight for Timmy in the 83 car.
Right on that, but like I say, you know, Timmy, even though, you know, he did lose the number 1 position, he's back there in 3rd position right now, really hasn't lost a lot. Looks like he's been able to hold his own even with those tires, you know, that few more laps, as now it looks like guys are starting to use that inside line on him, you know, see how that comes off.
You know, but it looks like, you know, whenever Timmy entered in turn 1, he went into the high line almost immediately, and the 15 hadn't had him at that point. So I think Timmy just, you know, allowing these guys, being smart racing, and just allowing these guys to get around. Now, it might be a bad decision just because look how many people are actually behind him. They are lined up single file, and it's going to take a while to get back to that bottom lane.
Yeah, that's one of the things about this track here. If that outside line isn't working for you and you allow the first car to get down underneath, especially on a restart like this, as I see the 24 going around in the background right there. It looks like Chuck Garcia may have lost it there, but they're staying green as he spun it off the track. But, you know, to get back to what I was saying, you know, you get those cars stacked up on you on the inside lane there like you were talking about, and, you know, you're out there on the outside and the car isn't working the best for you at that moment. It's, you know, you could be hung up there on that outside line with cars passing underneath for 15, 20 laps on a track like this. And, you know, you get stuck up there on that outside line like that, you know, 10, 15 laps, you could be losing, you know, a position, maybe 2 every lap. So, you know, you could find yourself falling back pretty quick, you know, find a spot to get back down on the inside line where everyone else is running. So,
yeah, definitely right.
Night.
And looking on the right side of your screen, you'll see that 24 Chuck Garcia. Did he get touched? No, I don't think he did, but it looks like it was close with the 78. Nope, he just went around on his own power. So no harm, no foul, no caution came out for him. So he got his spun around, and he's going to get back on the track and try to make up the position he lost.
Yeah, actually a good bit of job. Good job of driving right there by Garcia also on the way that thing spun out. Done a 360, kept it off the wall there, because the way it was originally heading down there with that nose towards the wall, you know, if you get that wall on the inside, that could easily ruin your night there. You know, slamming that inside wall and shut the radiator back through the engine and call it an early night at that point. But nice piece of driving there to, you know, keep that thing from getting down there into the wall and doing any damage to it. So, you know, he'll be able to continue on. Lost a lot of time and a lot of positions, but still a lot of green flag racing, a lot of laps left here, you know, so Chuck should be able to recover from that.
Absolutely, you know, no damage, you know, so all you got to do is, you know, wait a couple of laps, let the tire temps cool back down, because he did overheat those tires whenever he spun out, so he's got to be sure to take care of those tires for a couple of laps, let them cool down, that way he doesn't spin out again and have to go in pit road and make any changes to it, but let him cool down and he should be all right.
Yeah, and as we were sitting there talking about that and watching the replay of Garcia going around there, I'm kind of watching the 29 car of Jeremy Enix. He has now worked his way, you know, from all the way up to 4th place. Started back in 11th, and you know, like we talked about, he's got one of the best records here at New Hampshire. Seems to like this asphalt track a lot. So he's already moved himself up into the 4th position and continuing to march forward. So you know, don't count out Jeremy before, you know, the next 20, 30 laps, possibly getting him up there challenging some lead the way that car's running right now.
Absolutely, and he was a contender in our Thursday night Pure Sim event here at Loudon. So, you know, he won that race. He won it within the last 15 laps, but he did win that race. So he's got a strategy coming in, I'm sure, and he's going to put that strategy to work and hope that he'll come out on top again.
Yeah, and it looks like, just kind of watching him run a few laps here around there, it looks like he's got that car hooked up where it runs that bottom line really well, just off the yellow just a little bit. But, you know, you're a little slower than some of the other cars getting into the corner, but he's really able to motor off the corner and get that straightaway good. So that tells me that car is coming out of the corner well, which is exactly what you want to see here in a track like this. That car gets off the corners and get the maximum speed you can get out of that car, you know, coming down the long straightaway. That's what you've got to look for, and right now Jeremy's got that car doing exactly that down on that bottom line.
You're definitely right about that, because most of the time, you know, you go in there, there's a couple of markers here, and these are your brake markers. There's a 3, a 2, and a 1 on the wall. As you can see on the left, there's two squares there, 3, 2, and then 1, about where the camera is. So you're going to have to let off at about the 3 mark, and then you're going to coast almost 3/4 of the way through the corner. And just right as you're about 190 miles an hour early on in the race, that's where you're going to pick up your throttle. But you got to be careful picking up that throttle too soon, or else it's going to push you out in the corner and towards the wall. Or if you're, you know, if some of these guys may be shifting and so they're going down to 3rd gear to save some brakes or something like that, they got to be careful that whenever they are powering in that power band of it, like 8,500 RPMs, out of turn 4. And also turn 2, there's a couple bumps. Well, if you hit those bumps and it causes those wheels to spin, they got to watch out for that, because it'll spin that car right around.
Yeah, and in mentioning that too, that's one of the things we really haven't talked a lot about here, you know, but a lot of these guys, you know, will use a lot more brake than others, and you know, that could cause some brakes to overheat here tonight too, as I've seen a few times guys like to talk about getting off the throttle there, about that number 3 sign going into the corners. I've seen a lot of guys, once they hit that number 2, like to get down in the brake so they can, you know, try to run it in there a little bit harder down into that corner. So that could cause brake failures too. So that's one of the other things you guys got to worry about tonight, in addition to, you know, the tire wear on their cars. So that'll be something to kind of keep an eye on tonight, see if we see any brake failures too. As it looks like Jeremy and is starting to run down Darren Benz there, picking up quite a bit of time on that number 15 machine. As you know, you got Danny Gutierrez, and stayed with him pretty much throughout this last 10, 15 laps we've been talking and stuff. So they've pulled in Darren Benz, got to within, you know, about a half a second of him. So you know, they're starting to work their way, creep their way up into that towards the number 3 position and start challenging Darren Benz here in the next few laps for the 3rd place position.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. But even if you go a little bit further, the 33 of Ben Bando is starting to creep up on that 42, our race leader of Travis McKinney. So as those guys make their progress forward, so is the 33, and he's about a car length away.
Yeah, these guys are starting to, come up on lap traffic, which could really shake up and could be a hindrance or a help to either of these two cars as they start, catching lap traffic. And, according to where you catch them at and, how hard these guys want to fight with you at this point, lap traffic can be your best or your worst enemy at pretty much eating
You're
given
right.
track.
I mean, if you looked at the way that worked out for Bando there, as he caught the 42, he was a car length away like he is now. But when they come out of turn 2 about 2 laps ago, that 74 car was on the outside, and he lost about 4 car lengths. So that just goes to show you that you're absolutely right. Lap down cars can definitely play a role in this tonight.
Yeah, right now they got a bit of clear track there in front of them, so we'll see how these guys tend to fight it out here. As Bando is, like you said earlier, he's starting to pick up a little bit here, a little bit there. He'll get that car back up there behind the 42, and then I'm sure he's going to be trying to see what he's got at this early juncture of the race right now. Is it's just the two of them kind of broke away to see how well that car will run against this 42. As he got into the brakes a little too heavy there, it looked like. Got that rear end squirrel in the middle of the corner and lost just a little bit more, like you talked about earlier. So the 42 is able to pull away from him a little bit more due to that braking going into the corner there.
You're right, and I want to go back to the brakes a little bit. For some reason, I want to say I recall these guys having an issue with brakes last year and losing a couple of brakes. So if they are using the third gear, that's going to absolutely save brakes because they won't have to brake as hard going in the corner.
Right, you are. And using those brakes, that's one of the things you got to be careful of too. With if you are using the brakes at a track like this, and not to put him out there or anything, but we had Mr. Jerry Hinkle there when we were running Martinsville. He was known to use the brakes there at Martinsville quite a bit getting into those corners. He burned those brakes up and ended up having to use a few bumpers as braking the brakes during that race. So we may see some of that here tonight from some of these drivers. But, like I say, McKinney, though, now looking back up here in the front, McKinney has really started pulling away from Bando the last few laps. I don't know if Bando has, maybe heated up that right rear and had to back out of it, a little bit to kind of conserve the tires. But, Travis McKinney has pulled to about almost a 9/10 of a second lead away from Ben Bando at this point. So McKinney is, starting to pull away with it a little bit more. So, it may be one of those things. Like I said, we saw him a little slide there, in turn 3 there a few laps back. He may have heated up those tires and has now had to back out of it a little bit and not run it quite so hard, let those tires cool down before, getting up there and trying to make another run at it. So, that may be one of those things to keep an eye on tonight. We talked about tires, so that's, that just kind of goes to show right there what tires can do. But we're going to step away here for a quick commercial break here at NuffWORLD TV from New Hampshire Speedway with the Nuff Radio 3-1. So stay tuned. We'll be back here right after this quick commercial break.
Link engaged.
Welcome to TeamSpeak, advanced voice communication software for any platform. TeamSpeak allows groups of people to communicate and share information with anyone via the internet or through private networks. Using your Windows, Mac or Linux-based computer, all you need is a headset with microphone, and in minutes you can be chatting with others in real time using our crystal clear voice technology. As a pioneer in the industry, TeamSpeak has become one of the most recognized brands in online gaming and voice-over IP solutions. TeamSpeak features include a customizable toolbar, a clickable server icon and support for channel icons, custom graphics and VB code-enabled info panes, detailed user info and support for uploading avatars, firewall-friendly file transfer, tabs, public and private text chat with logging, custom skins, themes and sound packs, and much more.
I'm someone that's more than just a casual gamer. It's important to me to have fast, organized, quality voice comms. With TeamSpeak, I'm able to quickly customize user permissions and email a privilege keys to an offline user. So the next time they log into the server, they'll be set up exactly how I want them to be. TeamSpeak also lets us do file transfers, assign player rank, insignia, upload avatars, or create custom skins. For me, there's no better choice out there than TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak is free to use for non-commercial entities. Low-cost professional hosting is also available through our global network of authorized TeamSpeak host providers. For online gaming titles, social networks, government, military, or simulator projects, TeamSpeak also offers a software development kit. The TeamSpeak SDK allows developers to integrate our technology directly into their existing product or service. So no matter which game you're playing or with whom you wish to communicate, TeamSpeak has you covered. TeamSpeak. Flexible, powerful, crystal clear voice communication on any platform.
And welcome back to New Hampshire Speedway here in Loudon, New Hampshire. Nice morning, it's NuffRADIO 301. It's heard by NuffWORLD TV. Kind of see on your screen there, we're currently under caution as we come back here as the 54 of Charles Chapman got down into turn 3 there just a little bit too hard. That rear end comes around on him again. Looks like maybe a brake issue there with him, but coming along right behind him there. Had the brake locked up and just really got into Chapman. And everyone's a night for Chapman. Looks like the 54 of Charles Chapman will be our first car out of the race tonight, unfortunately, as he destroyed the suspension on that car after contact with between him and John Lawler in that 64 machine. So, unfortunately, tough break there for Charles Chapman at that number 54 machine tonight, as he'll be out of the race tonight after only 38 laps. So surely it'll be a disappointing night for Chapman. I know he was looking for a lot better things there out of the night. So unfortunate break at this time.
Yeah, but and I feel bad for the 54 Chapman and also Lawler. Lawler just got in there and was trying to slow it down, and probably when he got on the binders, that car tends to go up the track whenever you hit the brakes like that. So. It's just a bad incident for both of them. But with all that happening, we got the 4 car who came out in the first position. So Dennis Wright is now our race leader.
Yeah, good pit stop looks like there for Dennis Wright in that number 4 machine. As he's hitting pit road now.
He
so
is.
Looks like sorry to say that. I was thinking of that. I thought he had on the pit road. So apparently I was incorrect, but that's one of the things, going back to that incident there, like you talked about, Stephen. It kind of seems like to me, kind of looking at that these guys have the ability to turn what they call brake bias, be able to put more brake into the front or more brake into the rear. And it kind of looks like there with that 54 machine, he may have had a little too much brake dialed into the rear of that machine, which caused him to come around. And then just chain of events, looks like Lawler had a little too much dialed into the front, and as he went in that corner and tried to hit the brakes, it just locked him up and shot straight up the track on him.
Yeah, and with us having that caution right there, that allowed the 24 car of Chuck Garcia to get the lucky dog position.
Yeah, great break there for Chuck Garcia. Puts him back up on the lead lap now, fighting to get himself back up towards the front once again, as we alluded to earlier, spinning off a turn 2 all by himself. Not sure that's any damage for anyone there. As we go back to green flag racing here. So looks like these guys, everyone got a real good restart. Looks like the 29 of Phoenix really got a good jump there as they hit the third gear. It looks like his third gear really took off a little better than what McKinney's did.
Yeah, but he got up there in that high line just a little bit too high is what it looked like, and it caused him to get up in the lower of the marble. So it pushed him up even higher, and he wasn't able to capitalize on that good restart.
Yeah, and now he's being contested down on the inside by the 08 of Danny Gutierrez, who we alluded to these two earlier. They have been coming up through the pack together and, running with Enix right in front of Gutierrez there for quite a number of laps, and had started chasing down, working their way from 11th position and 12th position on forward. So they now find themselves up in the second and third place position with Brian Lee back there in fourth, right behind them as they got down single file now. Looks like Enix and Gutierrez, though, definitely have some very different lines there in the corners. So these two, if they continue to keep running nose to tail like they have been, throughout the last few laps here under this green flag run, as well as what we saw, previous to that caution, these two may be looking to get up there and, put a move on that number one machine of Bando here before too long.
Yeah, you're right about that. But do you know what car we're missing? The 42. The 42 went down pit road, and he spun out on pit road, and it lost him several positions, so he went to the back of the pack. So I gave the 29 and the 08 of Jeremy Enix and Danny Gutierrez better positions, as well as Bando, who was sent in second while under that caution.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate break there for Travis McKinney, and pit road mistakes can really cost us. It shows here in this case, Travis right now is shown back in the 22nd position right now, so he's mired back in the pack quite a bit, and that's something that's got to frustrate you too as a driver. Once you make that mistake, you've got to try to put that out of your mind and get back out there on the track now, and being mired back this far in the pack, you've really got to use some patience, especially knowing as fast as that car is that he's got, now he's got to, make up about, over 20 positions, to get back up there and try to challenge for the lead once again. So it puts you in a very frustrated position, and you've got to, be able to, hopefully his crew chief and spotter in his ear, right now, trying to calm him down, because he's got to be very frustrated and upset with himself at this point.
Oh, absolutely. But he's got a good car, and knowing that, hopefully he doesn't push it too hard and, smack the wall or get into somebody going in a turn, because he's definitely got the speed to get back up front. It's just going to take some time.
And you kind of allude back to what we talked about earlier, with Garcia when he spun out, and, and Timmy St. Jean, trying the staying out there with older tires a little bit earlier. The good thing in the case for Travis McKinney here is that it's still very early in the race with only 52 laps down, so he's got time to, overcome that mistake. If this was something that happened with maybe 50 laps to go, it would have definitely turned into a real bad night for McKinney in that 42 machine. But either way, it's early in the race. That's something he's got to kind of try to put that behind him now and get it out of his mind altogether and start making up these positions as he's continuing to come through the field right now, working on William Robertson in that number one machine there as he gets down on the inside now and, makes the pass underneath, brings the 48 of Dominic LaRusso with him under that pass, and now sets the sight. He moves him into the 19th place position and sets sight now on Timmy St. Jean and Nick Timms right there in front of him. So he is continuing to march forward. Looks like he's been calmed down well and, had a few guys, I'm sure his crew chief and spotters talking to him in his ear, calming him down and, try to put that behind him and move forward now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we make our way back to the front. No difference here. They're all still single file. And 33 still leading the race. He's about 3 car lengths in front of Jeremy Enix, who it looks like they are making up some time on the leader. So definitely got to watch out for Jeremy Enix in that 29 car. It looks like him and the 08 and the 33 all have good cars.
And one of the things I did notice, though, on that last green flag run we had, it seemed like Jeremy Enix and both him and Gutierrez, it looks like they had a better long-run car. They were starting to run down, the second, third place machines under that last green flag run we had before the caution came out. So, they may be trying to take it a little easy here, conserve as it's still, early in the race and such, and try to conserve those tires, whereas we don't really know for sure how Bando's running that car. So, we have to sneak a reporter down there and kind of find out, what the strategy possibly is. But, Jeremy and SoCal both, like I say, in that last green flag run were, definitely had some good cars, even, with older tires. So as you see the leader going underneath the 64 of John Lawler there, putting him a lap down. He was just involved in that last incident, with the 54 of Charles Chapman. So Lawler got quite a bit of damage out of it, I'm sure, at this point. It looks like he's currently shown now 8 laps down because of all the extensive time he did have to spend on pit road during that last caution routine, that incident he had. So, right now, Lawler's still out there trying to make the best out of this night. So, but Lawler is one of those guys that you see him out here week in and week out. You don't see him up front most of the time, but he is one of the, as Ed Wilson likes to refer to, one of those Ironmen. He's not up front a lot of times, but he's out here every week, week in and week out, and that's what kind of makes us, a lot of these guys make up our force here within NuffWorld. These guys who are committed to what they do and come out here and have a lot of fun doing it too. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. I mean, without a lot of, just for people who stick it out in the race, even with race damage, it puts pressure on some of these guys that they must finish this race. They must continue racing, even if they do have some damage, because it comes down to points. And a couple years ago, we were down to the final race of the year, and it all came down to 3 points. So if you can maximize your points throughout the year, it's definitely going to help these guys.
That is correct, and one of the other things is you mentioned that too is the rule that was implemented the year right after that. I think 2012 was the first year we actually ran with the one new rule with the participation rule. To kind of increase participation here within the VSU Cup Series. These guys have to make the 20 races to be eligible for the chase too out of the first 26. So guys like Lawler making those 20 races, who knows, he could be a big surprise all of a sudden, find himself in a chase position, just by sticking it out here and running these laps with, with a beat-up car.
Absolutely, and to change the subject, but the 29 came off turn 2 just a while ago, got a little bit sideways and gave up position to the 08, the 67, and 16 cars, so that put him back, it looks like, in 5th place.
Yeah, looks like an unfortunate incident there, for Enix. He was able to keep the car off the wall as such, but, did definitely lose a few positions and finds himself running back there in 5th place right now in front of the number 15 of Darren Benj, which isn't that a shake-up. We were talking, about 25 laps ago about Jeremy Enix chasing down Darren Benj, and now we got Darren Benj chasing down Jeremy Enix.
Absolutely. It's definitely going to change up for us tonight for sure. Now, I want to, we were talking about wheel chatter, and if you watch some of these guys going into turn 1, and you'll even notice that there's a couple of black marks down there, and once Jeremy gets done in there, you'll be able to see them. But you'll see a little puff of smoke as well, and that's what we're talking about wheel hop. And if you get into that wheel hop, it's hard to control, and that's exactly, you saw a little bit of smoke, just slight smoke, but they are definitely chattering that right rear tire. And like you said, they're going to have to work on that bias through the race. And the 8 car coming off of turn 2 gets sideways. Wow. Looks like these guys are having to chase these cars a little bit over here in early running.
Yeah, we go back to that, like we talked about. You bring into the brake chatter, as you talked about, a little bit of wheel hop. We talked about that, but one of the other things we also spoke about, during early parts of the race is that heat too, as the cars are going to start getting a little more loose as the track heats up and the tires get greasy. I'm looking at it now. The track temperature is still continuing to climb. We're up to 97 degrees already now out there on the track temperature, so it's rose about 15 degrees since we started this race. So that's going to cause these tires to heat up and get a little greasy and slippery also. So, we might start seeing a lot more cars. If they had a loose car to begin with, it's going to be a handful here as this track is starting to reach its, maximum, its recommended temperature, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's right. And we were talking about Darren Benj in the 29 and how those guys are fighting each other, but 29's got to look out for that 13 car of Tony Ball, who is now moving up into the 5th place position, taking that position from 29. So that guy is on the move.
Yeah, looks like he may be one of those. I don't remember where he started at exactly. I think he was a little closer towards the back, Tony Ball was, but looks like he's been able to work his way, throughout the first 66 laps well through this field and has made up quite a few positions now. And, he's got himself a good car from what it looks like underneath him. And, it's never a bad feeling when you got guys like we talked about earlier. Jeremy Enix is definitely one of the perennial favorites here, has had several race wins here, and finished every race he's ever run here in New Hampshire in the top 5. So, you know, if you're Tony Ball and you're just coming around doing the heat, you got to be feeling pretty good about how your car is running right now.
Absolutely. I mean, and you know, it just goes back to show that Tony Ball, even from last year's racing, he has improved immensely over the long run. And I definitely think that alludes to even ACR. That's the team he's driving for is American Championship Racing. Thank you. And you know that those guys are working over there with Louis Butza and you know, even Christian and Bruce Turner and I don't remember all of them in that group at this moment. And I believe it's Jacob Popolowski, who is race commentating for us at certain times. But this group has just increased in talent for the last year. So it's definitely good to see these guys running really well now.
Yeah, it kind of goes to show, like you were talking about, too, with these guys starting to pick up. And that includes even with Justin Barton, who's, you know, doing real well now in the point standing this year versus, you know, what he's been over the last couple of years. So it shows that these guys within the ACR organization, you know, and with the help they're getting from Louis Butza III also, you know, there's a lot of good communication and sharing going on within that organization right there. And these drivers, as we keep watching them out here on the track, they seem to be getting better every week. So it goes to show, you know, within ACR, you know, the way that they share information and such is really leading to a lot better cars out here week in and week out and making their drivers better too. So, you know, it's just a tribute to how well they're communicating within that organization.
Absolutely.
But, you know, we were talking about, I'm going to kind of go back into the field here just a little bit further, but we talked about a little bit earlier, Travis McKinney in the position he put himself in with that spin down pit road there and, you know, putting himself back there in, I think, 22nd or 23rd position on that restart. He's been able to work himself up now to the number 13 position with that number 42 car, you know, running right behind last year's VSU Cup Series champion Bruce Turner. So he's continuing to click off some pretty fast laps and working himself through the traffic. So he's definitely being patient and using that car to get through the field, but being patient doing so as not to wear the car out or burn it up or put it into a position to where he doesn't want to put it. So he's definitely starting to make up some ground there. He's only currently about 9 seconds behind the leader, but he's only not even 2 seconds right now out of the top 10. So he's definitely moving forward once again.
Yeah, and this is going to be another one of those things that, you know, even that caution, like it helped out Chuck Garcia, who did spin, where the 42, he spun on pit road under caution, but even though he still lost his position. So, you know, all we have to have is one simple little caution, and he'll be right back in the running, because he's, like you say, he was in the back 20s, and now in the 13th position, looking at getting the top 10 here within 3 cars or so. So one caution, and he's back in it. All you gotta do is keep it clean, like you stated, and I guarantee we're going to be seeing 42 back in the front soon.
Yeah, he's really starting to work over that 03 of Bruce Turner now. As Bruce Turner has moved up the track a little bit there. Looks like he might have got in maybe just a little bit too hot, but he's pulled right up on the bumper now, basically, of Bruce Turner, and is starting to look at, you know, the position when he's going to take that position away. So he's moving forward continuously and, you know, starting to keep down on that inside. And Bruce Turner gets high in those corners. It looks like he hit that bump a little funny there, Bruce Turner did, and kind of bounced that car out towards the wall just a little bit there. So, you know, that's what makes it interesting is they're starting to run around the 74, who is a lap down machine there of Zach Holstrom. So, you know, that made him have to back off just a little bit, but he'll pick it back up and start working on that 03.
And I think you nailed it on the dot there. The 74 was in that corner, and he got a little bit sideways coming out and went to the inside, and I think Bruce was just a little concerned with that, so maybe he got out of the gas or got into the gas trying to get around him as soon as possible, because he really didn't know where that car was going at the time.
Yeah, I'm starting to look at the times here as far as, you know, as we're looking at McKinney and Turner, it looks like as McKinney has started putting heat on Bruce Turner, he's turned the wick up just a little bit too, and starting to run down Frankie Tomato, who's right there in front of him too. So, you know, this might be a good thing for Bruce Turner too, feeling that pressure from behind with the 42. He's, you know, starting to push the cars maybe a little bit more, hopefully not too much, but they're making up time on Frankie Tomato up there in Atlantis also.
Yeah, I think these guys, you know, are making up these two guys alone are making up enough time. They're catching, and he gets, and 42 turns of 3 cars.
Yeah,
down
like,
the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like the 03 just come up off that corner and maybe hit that bump. We've talked about several times, and that rear end started to come around on him, and that 42 machine, McKinney, just nowhere to go right there. He just gives him a little tap, and spins it on around. So Bruce Turner, though, was able to just do a 360, grab a gear, and continue moving forward as McKinney is now working over the 83 there, Timmy St. Jean, moving up through the field a little bit more. So, that puts him up into the 13th position now.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad call. These guys, the admins on the track, the 03 got a little bit loose or coming out, and the 42 got in the back of him, but the 3-car grabbed a gear and kept on trucking.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like we were just talking about it too, hopefully Bruce Turner, he's starting to pick up some time, it's starting to pick up the pace a little bit. Hopefully he isn't, trying to, run it too hard and maybe overheating that tire. And just as we were talking about it, the car got just whipped around on him right there. But, Timothy St. Jean now, he's been passed by McKinney, so that moves McKinney up into that 13th position. So McKinney, continuing to march forward, now setting sights on Jovan Cherry. So we'll have to take a look here in a few minutes maybe and, see that, if there was any damage any done right there on that nose, which, that's definitely something you want to keep on these cars, that nose, and just keep the downforce as much as you possibly can on those cars. So that'll be definitely something to watch out throughout the night for, see, how well he's getting in and off those corners, so as to how much damage might have been done on that nose at that bump.
Yeah, and it was such a slight bump, but it can cause a little bit of damage. But they were fighting for the 13th and 12th position at the time, and with that incident, the 03 car of Bruce Turner went back to 21st position. So it kind of reversed roles. 42 had an issue early on, and now the 3 cars we was battling with is having to fight the same issue.
Yeah, and kind of thinking back there, I was thinking on mine too while you were talking there, Stephen, but talk about that nose downforce, being such a big thing here, especially at small tracks like this. We go back and look at the actual NASCAR race from a couple of weeks ago. It was Dale Earnhardt Jr., I think it was, who was leading the race when Matt Kenseth, the tire came completely off of his car, just the rubber piece. And when Dale Jr. ran into it, it knocked that splitter up, I think they said an eighth to a quarter of an inch, and Dale Jr.'s car did not handle the same all night and never led another lap after that either. So, slightest little bit, quarter inch of, sheet metal damage can cause a big difference out here on these tracks where you need that high downforce on the nose like that.
Yeah, but we're not going very high speeds here, and yeah, downforce is an issue. And if he's got some wiggle room there with that front tape, grill tape, he can actually add a little bit more, give a little bit of that front bite back into it. But what that doesn't really concern me as much as what it looks like on the left side of that car. I mean, it looks like he smacked the wall at some point.
Yeah, and if he had smacked that wall, that may make a lot of difference on how this car will handle. Yeah, he's got some damage there on that right-hand side, right at the 4 and the 2 on that. So interesting. I'm not really sure where he may have gotten that from, but we've apparently missed that somewhere along the way. But definitely got some damage there on that right-hand side.
That's what we did. I don't remember him having that before the Bruce Turner incident, so I'm wondering if, and I really wasn't watching the replay for the 42 car as much as it was the 03 to see where he went on the track. So maybe when it was the 3 car did get loose and the 42 got into him, he may have tried to go to the outside, got a little bit into that wall and caused that damage, just to, make sure he didn't hit the 3 car.
Yeah, that could have been exactly what it is. Now you mentioned that, thinking back to how that incident played out, that could have been exactly what happened. But, he definitely got some damage on that right-hand side. But, he gets around, as we were talking there, he gets around the number 20 of Jovan Cherry, and moves himself up into the 12th place position. So he's still continuing to move forward. And now it'll be the interesting thing to see. He's got a good bit of daylight here, about 3 seconds in front of him with Frankie Tomato. So now that he's out there in this clean air, and away from those cars right in front of him, it'll be interesting. We'll get a chance to really see, how well this car will perform with that damage on it, and how it holds, to the track and the downforce and stuff. So this will be a chance to kind of figure out, how that thing's going to run if he does get it back on front.
Absolutely, and he can't do nothing about it right now. He's just gonna have to drive this race and wait until he can get in the pits and make any adjustments that he can, or even repair the damage that is existing. So he's gotta deal with what he's got right now and worry about that later, and just hope that. And it looks like he's pulling away from the 20 car a little bit. I don't know if he's gaining too much on Frankie Simonto at this point, with him being about 2 seconds, 3 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah, he's making up a bit of ground there, it looks like, but there's a big gap there, like you said. So kind of looking though, I was looking back up front here, or not towards the front, but a little further up the pack there. The guy we talked about earlier in that number 29 machine though of Jeremy Enix, we were talking about he was running second up there. Not all that long ago when you mentioned, Stephen, he had gotten it a little bit sideways there in one of the corners, and he's continued to drop since that incident. I don't know if maybe they've done a change in the pits during that last pit cycle, or what happened with it exactly, but his car don't seem to be running like it was a little bit earlier in the race. He's fell back to 8th place position now, which Ben's been able to get around him in that 15 machine, and also the 78 of Chris Melton, and right now Vasquez is looking to get around him in that number 8 machine. So I wonder if they maybe made some changes down in the pits during that last pit cycle, and it caused that car to get maybe possibly a little too loose for Jeremy.
I'm not sure, but the difference is between the first run and the second run. We've actually I believe we were left on pit road at lap 45. These guys have ran 45 laps out there, green flag, so it's definitely putting a wear on the tires, and this is going to show you that maybe Jay's got a little bit of a problem in the back half of this run, and has to tighten it up or loosen it up, maybe like an off the corner. Well, it's difficult to say with them having this much this much on the track, 45 laps. But as I say that, the 8 car makes it around him, but he does swipe the wall coming out of the floor and doing so.
Yeah, and like you said, 40-plus laps on these tires. This concrete surface out here, much like Bristol, it can really chew the tires up in a quick fashion here with the concrete, and you don't have the what's the word I'm looking for, the luxury of having the banking you do at Bristol, though, to keep that car, pushing down here at New Hampshire the way you do there. So
you're absolutely right. I mean, if you look at the banking, you've got 2 degrees banking on the bottom and 7 on the top. Well, an A car just gets absolutely sideways. These cars must be getting loose for these guys, so they're going to have to adjust that wedge or the right rear tire pressure to get them back under them. But as we're going back, the banking is there. It's just at the high side. You do not want to be at the high side at all. So you're relying on 2 degrees of banking here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty and the beast of this track all at the same time. You get up there on the top groove, you got 7 degrees of banking. However, there's no groove there. It's kind of the beauty of the beast up there on that top side. You get up there, you're pretty much getting stuck off the drive. Even though, that is the best place at the same time. But you see 64 of John Lawler, looks like he's making a unscheduled possibly pit stop here, head down on the pit road, kind of get those, cars, get some tires on that car. So, these guys continue to move forward. I'm looking right there behind Enix, so Frankie Simonto is steadily creeping up into the picture, too, into this, currently running in 10th. So Frankie's moving himself up through the field fairly good, too. He's been quiet tonight, which, in Frankie's case, that's usually a good thing.
Yeah, it's most definitely a good thing for Frankie, because Frankie is a car magnet out there. Anything that happens on the track, it seems like he is having an issue or getting involved with whatever someone else, starts. He doesn't ever usually get to finish it because he gets involved. However, definitely has started a good run for him, and looking for a good finish for Frankie Simonto.
Yeah, I heard Frankie say there once upon a time, I can't remember which race it was, but Frankie was alluding to the troubles he's had this year with incidents and such that he got caught up into, no fault of his own altogether. He said, there could be 2 cars out on the track. I could be leading the race somehow or another. I would get into somebody and ruin my car. But you see Frankie coming through the corner there. Looks like the 74 is up there against the wall on that high side. With that nose, they're going to have to throw a caution on that. There's no way that young man, that 74 is going to be able to get that car down with these cars coming out there the way they're spread out. And looks like they did just throw the caution flag there. So you know, that's going to be a chance for, just like we talked about earlier, you did, Stephen, you know, for at 29 of Jeremy Enix and maybe several others, you know, to get in there and make some adjustments to these cars, and, you know, a good chance for Travis McKinney to get that damage fixed on the right side of his car also, you know, and, you know, stack the field back up, give them all a, you know, a fighting chance, so to speak, to get back up there and duke it out for that #1 position. But to allude back what we were talking about with Travis McKinney a little bit earlier, he restarted 22nd after that last caution, had moved himself up to the 11th place position, but even with him being in 11th place, the leaders were only 8 seconds behind him with dealing with all that traffic and stuff, trying to get his way through. So, you know, this would definitely be a good break for Travis McKinney, guys like Jeremy Enix also, you know, and Dale Reynolds.
Yeah, you know, this is, it's a good break for them. I mean, we're at lap about, we'll be coming to lap 100 in 2 laps. And it gives these guys a chance to actually work on their cars, you know, to an extent that they've had a little bit loose cars. So this is definitely a welcome caution, I'm sure, for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, exactly. And with this long run we've been able to have this time, almost close to, 55 laps or so on this one. And that'll give them a good chance to see what the car's going to be like on their long run also when they start looking to make these changes on the car. They're now going to know, you know, what the car is going to do on the long run, how it's going to react to any changes they may have made at this point, and give them a chance to correct that stuff. But looks like most of the leaders, about everyone is coming down pit road right now, and we'll see a lot of these guys. So see how you know, pit road works out for some of these. But looks like the 27 of Dale Reynolds decided to stay out, as well as the 48 of Dominic LaRusso. So Dale Reynolds, looks like he's going to stay out there, and I would be willing to guess at this point he'll stay out there, lead that 1 lap, get the bonus point that he needs, you know, for championship series, and then I'm sure we're going to see him ducking down pit road too.
Yeah, and Dale Reynolds in the 27th car was marked back in 11th position before they came into pit road, so you know, leading the lap is pretty difficult. As you can see, there are only 2 guys tonight that look like they've actually, well, 3 guys tonight that led a lap. And so what that does is it gives them the opportunity to go ahead and lead that lap and then come in the second round, being in 11th place. So he'll restart, you know, clearly in the back. I mean, there's 27 guys look like are still on the lead lap. And Doc Stout's going to be our lucky dog on this caution.
Yeah, and currently, as we hit lap 100, we're pretty much to the 1/3 of the way there now. Right now, we've had, looks like 6 leaders up to this point, but, you know, 3 of those 6 leaders have, you know, led 1 lap apiece, just like what you were alluding to there, getting that championship point. Right now, our most laps led, when we go to Ben Bando in that number 33 machine, he's led 54 of the first 100 laps, and then, you know, Travis McKinney, we keep talking about tonight, led 37, the first 37 laps basically. He's led 37 laps tonight, and Timothy St. Jean has actually led 6 laps tonight. So Timmy's got quite a few laps led that, you know, a lot of them may have been under caution, but he's got 6 laps led tonight. So, you know, a lot of guys have led laps and got those championship points so far tonight.
Yeah, and as we were speaking there, those guys came off of pit road, and it looked like Ben Bando in the 67 of Kevin Buchanan made it first and second. And there you see Doc Stout going around on the left. And the 27 on the right is going into pit road, so definitely was just looking for lead lap points.
Exactly, and it looks like we're going to have a few guys try to take advantage of a waiver round here, so, you know, try to get to one of their laps back. So it could be an interesting call to see. I would go to figure, you know, that, you know, with, what, 55, 60 laps or so on these tires, I don't know if I would, you know, they've got to be looking for a quick caution to come after this restart, because, you know, that's a lot of laps to have on those cars. Even though you get a lap back, it won't take you long starting back here in the back of the pack to lose that lap you just got back with those old tires starting that far behind the leader.
Absolutely, and you know, for that many laps to go by and a chance to give work on your car, maybe I would imagine that they would have pitted and went ahead and took 4 new tires. It just makes a little bit more sense to me. However, they may have been going into pit road early on in that part of the race, and we just happened to miss it or something like that. So they didn't quite make the pit the pit sequence, which is about 60 to 70 to 80 laps, somewhere in there, really depending on what gear they got. And like we alluded to earlier in the race, that the fuel is really not a concern tonight, at least at this point. So tires is it's really when you want to pit. You can pit at lap 60 or you can pit at lap 80. You'll see tires last that long, I believe.
Right, and that's kind of what you talked about too. According to the gearing that these guys are running, some of these, are probably running a better, higher gear, so to speak, than what some of the others are. And one of the things I noticed today during the nationwide race, there was some cars that were able to get. Kyle Busch, race winner, was able to get, I think, at least 10, 15 laps more out of a tank of fuel than what some of the other guys like Sam Hornish was able to get. And that fuel mileage cost Sam Hornish about 20 positions today in the nationwide race, so that could be something to factor in before this is all over with tonight as we get the green flag and go back to racing here. It looks like Ben Bando got himself a real good jump heading off into turn 1, but Kevin Buchanan's up on that outside. Looks like he's got a pretty strong machine and wants to try to challenge for that lead right now coming off the 2, but Bando is going to clear him coming off 2, moves right up in front of him, but Tony Ball now is looking to try to get down on the inside of Buchanan, so they're starting to have themselves a dogfight early while these tires are good.
Yeah, and just right behind them in the 5th position, then you got the 8 car of Christian Vasquez and 15 of Darren Benz racing side by side, as well as Travis McKinney and also the 16 of Brian Lee. So Travis McKinney's making his way back up and now into the 7th place position.
Yeah, and I'm looking right behind him right there, that 29 machine of Enix we talked about a little bit earlier too. His car had faded a little bit there during the longer run that we were having. It looks like McKinney got down on that apron just a little bit and got swirly on him, and he had to check up pretty heavily. A lot of guys around him there, had to check up on the bottom for a second, but everybody gets through it, and McKinney continues to motor forward as he's down on the inside line with Jeremy Enix following suit right there on the bottom with him, but looks like he's having a bit of trouble getting on that 16 of Brian Lee right now as he's giving him fists up on the outside.
Absolutely, Brian Lee's putting up a fight with him. And, we were talking about right here where Travis McKinney got on the apron a little bit. That apron is not your friend at all. I mean, there is no grip down there whatsoever. It's not shaved like the groove is in the track. So it's a flat surface, it's 0 degrees, and it's slick. It is very slick. So the only time I would imagine you see these guys running that apron is when they're extremely tight in on entry. Help them turn a little bit. But if you got a loose car and you put that car on that apron, you've got problems.
Yeah, and you talk about being down there on that apron, you call it 0 degrees. That's almost the perfect thing, because you get down there on that apron, it's like driving on ice. Just like you had a piece of ice up there with 7 tires. So, that's exactly what happens. You get down there, and that car will come around quick on you. But like you said, you may see some guys later on tonight as these cars. Yeah, we got a caution out on the track. I'm not sure. That one might have been a little further back in the pack than what we were looking at. But, we'll have to check on, see what happened there. But, like I say, there's a lot of times, it's like driving on glass out there or ice. But, yeah, it can be real interesting. But you'll see some of those guys, like I was saying, get down there later on throughout the night, to try to make that car turn when they got those really old tires and try to give themselves a little bit of advantage. But, sometimes you don't know if you want to flirt with that or not, because you get it down there and it turns too much, a lot more than you're expecting, and next thing you know, you're rear end into the wall, and not a good night after that. But looks like Bando and also the 67 of Buchanan and quite a few others are heading down pit road, so a lot of these guys are heading down and taking some tires on right now. So, looks like Darren Benz at number 15, as well as the 42 and the 08 right there on that one. Looks like they all 3 decided to stay out. So, you definitely got a big mix going on back there. But a lot of mix of different pit strategies going on out there right now. So. Some of these guys decided to stay out, just like we talked about it, throughout the earlier in the race when Timmy St. Jean decided to stay out. Only 7 laps on the tires at that time, decided to stay out, and kind of test the water. So it'll be interesting to see here if Benj and McKinney do decide, which they've passed pit road now, coming back up the front stretch. So they may be trying to stay out here and feel comfortable with what they've got with only a few laps ran on these tires and take advantage of track position, which is a big factor out here because as we've seen throughout the night, you can have a very good car. Travis McKinney, prime example of that. have a good car and still have a hard time getting through the field just because of track position and where you're located.
Yeah, and we got the replay coming up right here. As you'll notice, the 83 and the 1 car of Robertson and 83 of Timmy St. Jean, it looks like he just got the 1 car got in the back of the 83 car, and it just got him loose enough that it spun that car around.
Man, looking at that too, as Timmy, got that little bump, he almost had it corrected. Looked like he may have overcorrected a bit, shot up the track on him, but trying to look at who that is right there coming down. Looks like Dennis Wright in that 4 car. God, how he missed the nose of Timmy St. Jean in that 83, I have no clue. I bet you couldn't have put a piece of paper between those two. But that was a definite good job of driving on Timmy St. Jean's part to keep that thing out of the wall, and also to keep it from doing a complete loop there on him and getting right down in the racing groove. So he was able to keep it up high, so that's a good thing. Kept it out of everybody's way that way.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he took any damage from it. I mean, luckily the 4 car was able to miss him, as well as, the 1 not doing too much damage to him. He just had to chase it up the track after that small bump. And it was unfortunate because you can bump at this track. I mean, you can go into the corner and be lined up. You have to be lined up in that bumper. And that'll get you your alignment. And you can actually stay in the throttle a little bit longer than the guy in front of you, and doing so pushes him in a little bit too fast, and so it pushes him up the track. As well as if you're in the middle of the turn, you can give him a slight bump. It has to be on the center of the car, and it'll push him up the track as well, because it just upsets the car a little bit. So it definitely can be done. It was just done on that left rear portion of that car, and so it upset it.
Yeah, if you get that car upset on that, when you're in especially the entry and the middle of the corner, that's some of the worst places to get that car upset at, because, you're continuously trying to turn at that point too. You don't have no real slide off area per se, as if what we saw with Garcia a little bit earlier, during the race. You coming up off the corner, you spin it out a little bit. You got some room, you can kind of get it down off the track and kind of keep it away from things, but you in that corner, you've got nowhere really to slide it out and be able to keep it straight and such, but that wall keeps getting closer to you as you're going in a straight line. Yeah, but it looks like we had quite a few actually stayed out during that last cycle. We've got a good shake-up of people up front here, with Darren Benz leading them down to the green flag this time, followed by Travis McKinney, Danny Gutierrez, Frankie Tomato, and Ben Britton now up there in the number 5. 34. We really haven't talked much about him tonight, but he's been back there and been quiet. He's one of the old steady guys that, you seems like you just looking around the track, you happen to come across this car, but then you look around in the race, and the guy's been in the top 5 all night, kind of quiet guy, and that's why he's having, where he's at in the point standing, so to speak. But, these guys are bunched up at the top 3. The front 3 have put a little bit of gap there between themselves and 4th place, but Ben Britton has moved himself up into the number 4 position now, so, but it looks like he's got there on his high line there in the corner, and they're going to form a line underneath him
Yes,
now.
they are, and it was that wheel hop. If you saw the smoke come from his car, he wheel hopped it into that corner, and it forced that car to the top end, to the top side. He didn't want to go up there, and still didn't want to be staying up there. But that's exactly what happened. A little bit of wheel hop, and that's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that little bit of wheel hop definitely set him up the track a little bit, which allowed the whole train underneath him just to form and go on around, as we got a caution out here on the speedway. So that one comes rather quickly. We go back to alluding to some of those guys we talked about. A couple of cautions ago, we talked about guys taking that wave around and thinking there might be some quick cautions here to kind of help them out. Looks like they've got a couple of quick ones back to back right there. So that's definitely going to help out those guys who took the wave around on a couple of cautions previous to, kind of get themselves back up through the track a little bit and get into some position there. But it looks like Ben and McKinney and Gutierrez, all 3 of those who stayed out during the last pit cycle, have decided it's time to head back in. So, these guys are coming down pit road now, and looks like they're going to take on 4 new Goodyear Eagles and a tank of fuel before getting back out there. So they did stay out, but decided the better of it now to than to stay out once again. So that'll hand over the lead to the number 67 of Kevin Buchanan, who will now lead his first lap for the night. So we'll add another name to that list of leaders tonight. But as we see, Darren Benz down here on your screen, come in, getting a ball. It looks like pit stop coming down pit road. It's going to be the first guy off the pit lane out of the group that did hit as he gets around McKinney there, and McKinney coming out right behind him. But race leader Kevin Buchanan staying out once again, which he stayed out during this during the last caution. So he stayed out there, got some track position. Now finds himself up in the first place position with Ben Bando right there in second. If they stay out and continue to run like this, then, and Ben Britton now is also going to head down pit road.
Yeah, and we got the replay up, and it looks like the 23 of Frankie Samaso and the 16, they just all checked up there, and that caused the 8 car to check up, and the 13 just got in the back of him. I think it just was a chain reaction. You got the 74 who spun out there trying to maybe avoiding it, and then the 48 was probably on the outside going in that turn and was just checking up and making sure he didn't cream into the 8 car.
Yeah, unfortunate how, and this track is notorious here at Loudon for that. One guy checks up, and especially when everybody's so close and so tight racing on a restart like this, is what they are. One guy checks up, they can check up about, 15 cars back there, that are running all in a line right there. So, and if one guy is just, fraction of a second slower on getting to his brakes than what others are, then that can cause exactly what we saw right there.
Yeah, there's not much the 48 can do about it. I mean, he was trying to avoid the wrecking gap, like we said earlier in the race. Whenever I can't remember who it was at this point, but he got on the brakes and just pushed. John Lawler, trying to avoid the 54. He just got on the brakes and it just pushed him straight up the track. So that usually doesn't happen unless you have hot brakes, also. So hot brakes, it's going to could become an issue there for these guys.
Yeah, and you need to talk about those hot brakes too. Now, that's something we haven't really talked about. How do you think, Stephen, having these cautions like this, these guys get their brakes heated up, then they go under caution, they're not using brakes for a few laps, then they get another caution, they get down there and they're hard on the brakes because they're trying to heat them back up again, and you have another caution, you run into something like that. You think that's got effect on some of the braking also as far as getting down into that turn 1, turn 3?
Absolutely. I mean, if you've got the brakes heated up, usually you would think enough time would go by during the caution that it would cool off the brakes. However, if they are having some brake issues, they're not going to cool down as well as they should, and so it definitely could be part of their problem. And if you look at the beginning, it looked like some of those guys the track now, Kevin Buchanan is really leading this race. It looked like some of those guys that didn't pit the last time went ahead and pitted, so it kind of shook it up again. We're back to about where we were before, on lap, I believe it was 95 when that second to last caution fell, so we're back to that lineup now.
Right, you are, and I find it interesting too. I'm be interested to see how this works out for Kevin Buchanan, because he stayed out for the last 2 cautions. So it's going to be interesting to see. He's out there right now. He definitely has the oldest tires on the track, even though, it's only about 18 laps or so. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out for him with all those guys right behind him having a lot fresher tires than what he does. So we get the green flag now and heading off into down the front. Kevin Buchanan, though, did give himself a real good restart as he heads down into turn 1 right here. Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Looks like he's locked through that opened up the door. Oh, yeah, that walking up those brakes up, sure turn 1, and just caused all kinds of havoc down in there.
Yeah, and it opened up the door for the 16, but he wasn't able to capitalize on it. But the 33 still trying to take him on the outside, so it doesn't look like I heard that 67 too much, but it definitely gave a shuffle. Probably a little scared for the guys behind him.
I'm sure Ben Bendo, he was up there on the outside, as he got down there, his brakes locked up. It was like a front brake and killed the track a little bit. I'm sure Bendo was definitely not, he was feeling it there at the time too, as they starting to look like single file now, getting into position here, and then, Buchanan definitely got in that quarter. Everybody is scared, but, they're starting to move along down. Bando has settled into the second position with Brian Lee back there in third, with Tony Ball now running in the fourth position, and Jerry Hinkle at number 12 rounding out the top 5 right now.
Yeah, and it's good to see Jerry Hinkle up there. We haven't seen him in a while up in the front tonight. So, it's a very good run for him so far tonight. He was mired back in the 15th position earlier in this race, so he's making his way up to the front.
Yeah, I'm looking a little further back in the field here right now. A guy we talked about a lot earlier during the race, at number 24 of Chuck Garcia. Right now, he's knocking on the door of a top 10 position, after going a lap down earlier in the race, having that self-stand coming off of turn 2 and putting it down off the track. So, he's definitely rebounding right now to bring that car back up. Like I say, he's knocking on the top 10 right now, followed by Frankie Tomato, chasing down the number 42 of Travis McKinney right there in front of him, which Travis, fortunately, just running the pole and leading a bunch of laps there at the very beginning. That one pit road incident has got him back in the field a little bit. He's running right now in the 9th place position, still back there in traffic. So, traffic has been his worst enemy here tonight, with those track position, after the pit stop.
Yeah, and we go back to talking about the 24 car. He was just a lap down, early in this race. He was able to get the rookie dog, and now back in the top 15. So, definitely a good run for him tonight. I mean, that's even though he did spin out, but he is making his way back in to the top 10, and that's good to see forward progress for the 24 car.
Yeah, it looks like we got a challenge for the lead up here, as Ben Bando now has moved down on the inside of Kevin Buchanan, going down into 3, but they're coming up on lap traffic of Ed Wilson up there in the 88th seat, but it looks like Bando is able to clear him as they come up off of turn 4 right there. So that puts Ben Bando back up to the lead now and moves Buchanan back to second place, as it looks to me like, watching Buchanan over the last 10 laps or so, he may have a little too much brake bias set to those fronts.
Yes, sir.
Like going into turn 1, he can smoke every lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to hint on that early on, but I didn't have the time. On that restart, whenever he did go in there in turn 1, he had locked it up. So I'm going to assume he's got a little bit of front brake bias in that car, a little bit too much. And he may have done it because he's got a loose condition. So he's trying to compensate with brake bias at this point. Since, as we spoke, he hadn't pit during the last caution. So using the front brake bias is helping him get in there and not, have that loose condition. However, it is affecting that car going into 1 with those bumps.
Right, and right now, too, with Buchanan, he's still losing there, not pitting under the last 2 cautions, we're lap 127 now, so we go back to green, I think it was around lap 100, so he's got about, he's coming up on 30 laps on those tires, although 10 of those laps roughly were, under caution, so he's running out there with about 20 laps older tires, so to speak, actual wear on them, than what these guys around him are, so, I'm actually kind of surprised to see him still holding on the way that he is, as he's been able to hang with Bando right here after Bando got around, and keep a good distance between him and the third place machine of Brian Lee. So.
Yeah, and he's looking on the inside, but there was no room. The 33 closed the door on him. Yeah, he's definitely trying to get back into that first place.
Yeah, he's definitely, looks like he's got a real good car tonight, even with the older tires right now. He's still putting together some real good laps and stuff. So, Buchanan may be something to, he may have made some adjustments in that pit cycle, like we talked about back on lap 100, that has kind of brought this car to life maybe for him, and that's why he's, got the belief in his car to stay out there like he has for the last 2 cautions.
He's definitely loose. You can watch him, and wow, if you saw in the background the 88 of Ed Wilson smacking the wall out of turn 2.
Yeah, it definitely got up there and said hello to that wall on that one. He got a good lick on it, so unfortunate incident there for Ed Wilson. He was lucky he was able to keep it straight the way that thing bounced off the wall there and not move it around and run the field coming around. But that's definitely something. Ed looks like he's fighting a pipe condition back there at that 88. So he's definitely got to get some work done on that car and get that thing fixed.
Yeah, and here's the replay coming out of the corner. It just looked like he'd come out of turn 2 and the car would not turn.
Yeah, it looks like he got his, once he hit it that first time, he was trying to keep it from heading back down the track there in front of, looks like the 34 of Britain, and smacked it a second time there on the straight. So, you know, unfortunate for Ed Wilson, but yeah, it definitely looks like that car did not like running in that second groove at all and went right up the track on him. Yeah, he may be, that car might be getting kind of tight on Ed. He may have went in there and made some adjustments because this track, you know, I've heard several drivers on their team communications talking about the track is starting to get loose over the last 60 laps or so. He may have, you know, tried to put a little too much into that and tighten it up too much, and you know, it looks like it's getting tight on him now. So, you know, but unfortunate, Ed got some good damage there on that car over on the right-hand side. He's going to have to get the guys up there and beat on that car for a little while to get that stuff back out straight. And you know, like I say, got some good racing going on throughout the track here as Bando and Kevin Buchanan are still continuing. Buchanan is hung right with Ben Bando throughout this. There's about not even a 2-tenths of a second gap between the two of them as they distance themselves right now from third place of number 16 of Brian Lee. But let's go ahead and step away for a quick commercial break here from Loudon, New Hampshire in the Nuff Radio 301. We'll be back in a couple of minutes after these quick commercial breaks.
Are you looking to start your own professional internet radio station the easy way? Sam Vibe was specifically designed for you. From the makers of Sam Broadcaster, Sam Vibe takes advantage of the cloud to let you focus on what is important, managing and running your station. There are 5 simple steps to get started with Sam Vibe. 1. Sign up for a free account at NuffWORLD.com. No credit card information is required to get a free account. 2. Download and install Sam Vibe. 3. Check your email to retrieve your account information and login details. 4. Run Sam Vibe and enter your username and password. 5. The Sam Vibe Quick Start Wizard shows you the first steps to start your station. Simply upload your music, turn on your station, and tune in. Too easy? Don't worry, Sam Vibe caters for the needs of both novice and professional broadcasters. Sound exciting? Give it a try. Sign up for free now at SamVibe.com to experience how broadcasting should be.
And welcome back here to New Hampshire Speedway with the NuffRADIO 301. Currently knocking out lap number 141 of 301 laps up front. We still got number 33 leading the way right now on Ben Bando, who, while we were away for commercial break, has been able to really put a bit of a gap out there on second, third, so on and so forth. He's got about a 2.7-second lead right now. Over to you. You had some messages there for us, Stephen?
Yeah, just going to speak about our NuffRADIO 301. NuffRADIO is a child company of NuffWORLD. They provide a rock station 24/7, 7 days a week. It can be found on you can listen on your Android, your iPhone, any phone that you have really, that's smartphone. Just go into your App Store or your Google Play Store and download what's called TuneIn. And then once you got that program in, you can look up NuffRADIO, listen to 24/7 rock anytime you want to while you're on the road and whatnot. You can also listen on the internet at NuffRADIO.com, through your iTunes. You can look under the heavy genre of rock, as well as WindowsMedia.com. So we have a lot of avenues for you to listen to NuffRADIO station, and we also can do some advertisement through NuffRADIO station. So if y'all are interested in advertising, definitely hit us up. We can throw that on the NuffRADIO and advertise for your company or business. So just remember, it is an explicit radio station, but it's got some good old rock and some of the new stuff also.
Yeah, that's one of the things too. You talk about the portability taking it with you. I know there was nothing I hate more than being on a nice long drive, cross country. So that's my wife and I will, currently reside up near Chicago, Illinois. We like to, go home, see family down around the Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia area, and that was one of the things. After NuffRADIO was able to go on air, we were able to do, jump on the road, plug the iPhone into the input jack, and we never lost signal listening to the same radio station the entire way, rather than losing signal and hunting for more stations on the road. So that's always a nice thing to have right there. But looking at some of the guys, like I say, we talked about Ben Bando has stretched that lead out, but I tell you, a young man who's having himself a good night here tonight is Tony Ball, running that number 13 machine, as he's currently right now challenging Kevin Buchanan for that number 2 position. Tony has so far tonight drove himself a very good race. He's been driving smart, taking care of the car, not putting it into positions. It looks like him and the 67. Buchanan had some contact right there in the corner, so this is what I'm saying. He's taking care of the car, keeping it clean. He gets a little bump with the 67 there, but Tony having himself a very good race here, so he takes care of that car. Whoa, wow, looks like him and Buchanan will not come together again there. These two are definitely putting those cars together as Buchanan takes a little while, gets into the wall right there, so, man.
Yeah, and the fighting between the 13 and the 67 of Kevin Buchanan opened up the door for those two guys behind him of Benj and the 16 of Lee. So I just brought them even closer, and I believe the 67 is going to be fighting for third place very soon with those guys behind him.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we alluded to, too, before the commercial break. You got to think Kevin Buchanan now has been out there for about 48 to 50 laps on those tires and fuel right now, too. So he's getting starting to get up towards the end of his fuel run. So it's going to be real interesting. So really interesting to see. He's been out there. I know the last, like I say, 2 cautions that we had, he didn't pit. So that car is probably starting to tighten up quite a bit on him. I'm honestly surprised he's been able to keep the pace the way he has so far. It kind of makes me wonder, had he taken tires, where he might be right now.
Yeah, and it was 2 quick stints for him to stay out. However, those 2 quick stints, as we showed with Timmy St. Jean early in the race, where he only went on 7-lap tires and lost a few positions. Well, now we've got the 67 who is out there on probably a little greater than 20-lap tires compared to everybody else. It's definitely starting to show now, especially with the temperature rising, and it's why he's getting a little bit loose off the corner, and he's fighting to stay up there in the top 5 right now with Lee, looking to get around him. So it's definitely going to be a struggle for the 57 car, Kevin Buchanan, until that next caution waves or green flag pit stop come up.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it too. I mean, we've alluded to it a few times tonight. You know, that track position. I mean, I know why Kevin stayed out there to try to gain that track position, get up here, like you said, and fight to keep those positions that he's in right now. Currently running fourth, and you know, just to go to show you know how much that track position means after a pit stop. We allude back to Travis McKinney, who was the pole sitter here tonight, who led the first 37 laps. Very good car all night long. Has you know, and then had that one incident where he spun out down on pit road, you know, and wound up having to go in and, you know, had a very slow pit stop because of it. Came back out, restarted after the caution, and he was involved, you know, there with, started 22nd and has yet to make it back up to lead another lap since that point. So, you know, getting mired back in the pack and trying to pass all those cars. I mean, he's done a good job at it tonight, but, you know, that track position is so critical out here to, you know, at a place like, you know, New Hampshire that, you know, you've got to make calls like what Kevin just did, you know, to stay out there and try to get that track position.
Yeah, and, you know, you got the 42 who did get into the wall a little bit with the 8, battling with the 8 car not too long ago, and then you got the 29 looking on the inside to get him in turn 3. And it looked like the 42 really gave that up, so... definitely a little bit harder to get around people whenever you got a little bit of damage. But we go back up into the 5th place position, who Brian Lee getting around the 67 with the 08 of Danny Gutierrez looking underneath also. But it's definitely good to see the 16 car back up, you know, in the top 5. I believe it's his first presence tonight there, so he's making his way up there nicely.
Right, and if you look right behind them just a little bit more, cars we had talked about the early part of the race, you know, they're still hanging out, even though we haven't talked to them about them, you know, a whole lot over the last 30, 40 laps. But you got Enix and also McKinney and even Dale Reynolds back there in 10th place. So those guys are still hanging out, you know, inside the top 10, even though they're stretched out right now and, you know, didn't, you know, kind of got mired back in that field a little bit, you know, on the restart. But a lot of these guys we talked about throughout the, you know, early parts of the night are still, you know, even though we haven't been speaking a lot about them here in the last 30, 40 laps, they're still hanging out right there in that top 10, having very good runs here. So it'll be interesting to see if any of those guys, you know, decide to make some changes, as I'm sure this track will just do at least one more, you know, transition here, probably around the lap 200 to 225 mark. You know, start cooling off once again. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, and I think a lot of it tonight's going to be track position and, you know, who's able to keep up with the changes on the track as it goes through its cycle.
Yeah, and we look back into the 20th position, number 20 of Jovan Cherry, who is now in the 11th place. And those guys behind him, they're all trying to track down Dale Reynolds for that top 10 position. So, and they're doing a pretty good job at it. I mean, it's such a difficult track. There's no banking whatsoever, as we spoke earlier. It's only 2 degrees on the bottom. And we've been out here for, what, I think about 30 laps now. So we're definitely seeing what these cars have. And you've got to see what it has on the long run. I mean, if you have a car that just doesn't handle on the long run, it's going to be a difficult night for you. And you can see that with Bando, who looks like he has control of that car, and that some of these other cars are struggling.
Yeah, no, Bando, like you talk about, you know, he's learning a lot by, I mean, growing by leaps and bounds out here with a lot of tutoring from, you know, Louis Bussa, who's, you know, really taking this guy underneath his wing, you know, and been showing him a lot of stuff. And it shows when you look at him out here on the track, because he really, like you said, it seems like he's got that car definitely set up to go quick on a long run. And, you know, he can stay right with most everyone on that short run, it looks like. But where he's really excelling now is out there on these long runs, as we saw, you know, on that last restart. They were the first 3, 4, 5 cars were all, you know, first 10, 15, 20 laps right there together. There was no real gap. And, you know, after about that 20 lap mark, it seems like Bando has really just been stretching his legs, so to speak, and putting that car out into the wind.
Absolutely. He's got a 5.7-second lead over Benj right now, and just put the 30 car who got away around in that last run back another lap down. So he's definitely, you know, the car, the possible build right now, and we'll see how that maintains over the long run, and see if he is able to maintain that lead, or if Ben's going to be able to come back and battle for that lead.
Right, man. Like you're talking about this car, like I say, it's set up to definitely go in the long run, and he's been, taking care of the car tonight too. It doesn't look like he's been very patient and not, per se, put that car, tried to shove it into places that he didn't need to be, or put himself into positions that he didn't need to be. It's coming up behind the 24 of Chuck Garcia, who's currently running in the 25th position. Looks like Chuck got a little squirrely there too, coming up off of turn 2 as he headed out towards the wall and got it back under control. But Chuck was one of those guys we talked about a lot earlier in the race. Had that little incident spinning coming off of turn 2, was able to get a lucky dog later on, get back on the lead lap. So Chuck seems like he might be struggling with the handling on that car now just a little bit. As they get him in turn 1 there, Bando is able to move right underneath Chuck Garcia, pushing him a lap down. So that'll put Chuck Garcia in a lucky dog position as they run right now. So, and now they're heading off down into turn 3 there. Looks like Bando's able to pull away a good little bit from Garcia and just continue to move forward. So it says a lot about the handling of that car when you look at, even Benj, Darren Benj back there, the number 15 machine, is on the same pit cycle, pit strategy time as what our leader Ben Bando is. But, you alluded to earlier, he had about a 5.7 second lead. Now it's moved up to a 6.3 seconds. So he's still continuing to pull away from second place.
Yeah, and right now we go back to the 34 of Ben Britton, who is battling for 19th position with a 51 of Nick Timms. We talked about whenever we came into this race, 34 was only 9 points away from Brian Lee, who is currently running in 5th place. So this is definitely taking a hit on him whenever he was involved in that incident. He's now shown 24 points behind our leader of our championship contender, Brian Lee. So it's definitely put a lot of stress on him right now. I think he's going to have to just, try to maximize as much as he can during this race. And knowing Ben Britton, he's going to be able to capitalize on this. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and definitely will definitely is going to try to get back up to the top 10 tonight before the night's over.
And you allude to the point standings there, Stephen. Brian Lee had himself a very comfortable, if I remember correctly, it was around the 40-point range, point lead, going into a couple of races back. And then, had 2 rough races there, unfortunately, for Brian, in the last couple of races, especially there at Kentucky, which has allowed Ben Britton to really cut down into that points lead. And coming into tonight, Britton only 9 points out of the number 1 position. So, Ben, he's really got to try to continue.
I hate to cut you off there, but it looked like the 51 of Nick Timms got a little bit sideways, which caused the 62 to get in the back of him, and the 51 was able to catch it, but the 62 was unable to.
Yeah, unfortunate. But I tell you, I think the one that'll be a welcome break right now will be the 67 of Kevin Buchanan, who's been out there quite a while now on those tires that he's got. So it's going to be a welcome break for him, as we were alluding to earlier. But that also puts the 24 of Chuck Garcia, which we alluded to a little bit earlier, talking about him going a lap down, will be our lucky dog. So that'll put Chuck Garcia back on the lead lap. So Chuck now the recipient of the lucky dog twice tonight. He's definitely the lucky dog, so to speak.
Yeah, he definitely is. And right now the 62 is the unlucky dog. I mean, he looked like he's minding his own business, just following the 51. 51 got a little bit sideways. 51 was able to hold on to 62, just not trying to stay out of him.
Yeah, looking at that too, looks like Doc Stout in that 62 machine, once he come rolling down in there and seen that the 51 of Nick Timms was getting sideways, it looks like he may have jumped on the brakes just a little too hard while he was trying to turn it, locked his front brakes, and, it doesn't matter how hard you turn left or how hard you turn right. If his front brakes are locked, you're not going either direction. So looks like it's kind of what happened with Doc Stout there. His front brakes locked up on him, so a lot of smoke rolling off, and unfortunately, caused him to get involved in that. And But like you said, Stephen, great job by the 51 of Nick Timms, to save that car and keep it from, completely looping around and getting torn up pretty good. So, definitely a good job of driving there.
I think you have to give a little bit of that credit to the 62 of Doc Stout. I mean, he hit him just perfectly. But I think it finally set that car to get some grip before he did spin out all the way. So as much as I hate to say, but I think the 62 held him out. So.
It is an awesome you get to say that the car ran into you and kept you from spinning.
That's right. I honestly believe that helped him in that situation. So it's bad on the 62 and as well as the 51 of Nick Timms.
Yeah, it's definitely an unfortunate incident for the 62 of Doc Stout. He's been out there, been rather quiet tonight, just out there minding his own business. Having himself a good run, so definitely was having himself a good run tonight, but unfortunate for Doc Stout, getting involved in that one. So he was definitely looking for a good finish, but now he's got to get some work done on that car, put it back out there, and get it moving again. But looks like, a lot of these guys head down pit road. Looks like they had a few that actually decided to stay out. The 48 of Dominic LaRusso has decided to stay out, during that last time around, and has elected to stay out once again here. So not sure if he plans on continuing to stay out or if he's going to go in and get some tires and such on that. I would think he would stay out at this juncture because I don't really remember seeing him come down to take tires or anything yet. So I really can't see him sticking around for a while.
Yeah, and I think I'm not sure if he was trying to stay out there to get the lead lap, but I believe this will give him his lead lap, and he'll probably go ahead and pull off into pit lane if this time by. I mean, as you can see, the 33 of Ben Bando is going to be right behind him. So it would behoove the 48 of Dominic LaRusso to go ahead and get some tires, especially out there to that run. But you had Dennis Wright and Travis McKinney who stayed out with him for the first lap, and then they went ahead and peeled off the second lap. I think they were looking to get some of those points.
Yeah, and Russo is now moved down on the apron. He's definitely going to head down pit road. He must have been listening to us. He heads down pit road to put up 4 new fresh Goodyear Eagles, and get some fuel up in the tank there, which that'll hand the lead back over to the number 33 of Ben Bando, and running right there in second right now, the number 15 of Darren Binge, with Danny Gutierrez in third, Brian Lee in fourth, and Jeremy Enixon at number 29 moves himself up to fifth place after that round of pit stops. Looks like Tony Ball in that number 13 lost a few positions as he got shuffled back to the sixth place position after the pit cycle goes through, and big jump there for the number 12 of Jerry Hinkle moves himself up into 7th place after a real good pit stop.
Yeah, and that actually puts 20 of Jovan Cherry into the 8th place, and then Dale Reynolds, who's finally tracked back top 10 with the 9th place right now, and then you got Francis Romano running off your top 10. And
yeah, I was kind of listening there too, Stephen. I was listening here in my other headset. Got that number 83 of Timmy St. Jean. Heard him coming across the radio talking to his crew chief and crew that a lot of these guys, he said, are looking very loose out here right now because the track is just through a few changes. He said there's a lot of loose cars out there right now. So, they're hoping this track, gets through the cycle here. I would say the next 50 laps starts cooling down a little bit. Looking for that track to tighten back up. But right now there's a lot of loose cars out there according to what I'm hearing over the radio, the 83 machine.
Yeah, and you've got a 1 o'clock start, so that's going to be pretty much the heat of the day going into, the later part of the race. So I don't imagine it being too cooling off too much as we go throughout the race. So that means we're going to be pretty much dealing with loose cars throughout this race today.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if some of these maybe are counting on that fact, trying to set up for a loose car for now because they know they're going to continue to get these long green flag drivers who go back to the green. So 33, down on the east side of Ben Bando, looks like he got himself a real good restart, but looks like that number 15 of Darren Binge up there on the outside was getting himself a giddy up and go from the 16 of Brian Lee right there behind him. Had a bumper on him pushing him, getting ready to go down into turn 1. Looks like he was definitely trying to get him up to speed quick. But as they head off into turn 3 here, looks like, well, I was going to say, looks like Darren Benjamin at 15 was going to take himself a look underneath the 33 of Bando, but then decided better of it, backed off of it a little bit, and got his line back down together and gathers it back together and puts himself into second place right there in front of Brian Lee as they head off of turn 2 here coming down. So these guys are starting to scatter back there behind them a little bit.
Yeah, we got these guys 3 wide going on the backstretch with 51 of Nick Timms and the 78 of Chris Melton, as well as the 87 of Kevin Kelly Jr. Now Wildrick is going to make it continue to be 3 wide, so there's some battles out there, and they are bouncing off of each other at the start-finish line.
You know, and looking at that battle going on, if I was driving 2 of those cars, I would be the nervous ones, would be that 67 right there of Kevin Buchanan and number 42 of Travis McKinney, who both know they have good cars, but mired back in the field once again, you know, with the pit stops and such. But I would be nervous if I was those 2, you know, with the cars that they have right now.
Most definitely. I mean, just looking at these guys, they're going 3 wide here on what looks like 177 of 301. And, you know, 3 wide this early, they're still a little bit early. We are over halfway, but they're trying to maximize as much as they can right here on positions. I mean, there's, as you stated earlier in the race, of how hard it is to go ahead and pass and get how track position is important. So I guess I can understand it, but I expect to see more of that, especially at the end of this race.
Yeah, we come down to some late cautions and such, and you get some restarts like that. I'm sure it's going to get really hairy for a few drivers out there because you're going to see a whole lot more of that, I'm sure, as this race goes on, if we have any more cautions, you know, towards the latter stages of this race, because right now is the perfect time with these cars after a pit cycle like this, when everybody's got those fresh tires, everybody's fairly well equal at this point. You know, so you're going to see guys trying to make up as much ground as they possibly can during the first 10, 15 laps after a pit cycle like this, and make the most out of those tires while they're fresh, because after about 20, 25 laps, those cars are going to start slowing down quite significantly, and the grip and such you had going down into corners is not going to be there anymore.
No, it's not. And it's going to make it for a really loose condition. And, you know, we had our race, Pure Sim race out on Thursday, and we did have that late race caution. And I tell you what, the track is set up so wide that you can get 4 and 5 wide. You're going to have cars scattering everywhere at that point, especially with a couple of laps left in the race. So if it comes down to something like that, well, I don't doubt we'll see something exciting.
Yeah, what gets interesting, though, too, and I noticed the 2 on the Pure Sim there on Thursday night you alluded to, but, you know, that 4 and 5 wide works really great heading down the front there. Getting to 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, it got really...
That's an equalizer.
You know, like we talked to you about earlier this show, you know, there's only 2 good grooves here to run, and that's that bottom line and the line right above it, so... If you're that 3rd, 4th car out on that outside, that corner is going to get really interesting for you. You're going to be turning, as I heard someone say Thursday night, you're going to be turning right just as much as you're turning left.
Absolutely. I mean, somebody's got to get going in that corner, and it's usually nobody.
That's exactly right. Because, you know, nobody, especially late in the race like that. Right now, this sort of race, 182 laps in, or even before this, yeah, you'll see a lot of give and take. If you come down to those last 10 laps, give and take is kind of out the window. You have no friends anymore.
No more friends. We got Joe Cherry still in the 7th place after restarting him in 7th place, but I believe Dale Reynolds made up that 1 position ahead of Jimmy St. Jean, and Dale Reynolds now is trying to get around the 20 car.
Yeah, it looks like they were stacking up pretty tight right there together, getting down in the corners there. So, you know, starting to get down in here in the corners, getting together now. It looks like Cherry, you know, and it just goes to show, you know, the different distinctive racing lines each driver has out here. If you look at that 20 of Joe Cherry, it looks like he's raced a lot earlier getting down into the corner than Dale Reynolds. But at the same time, it looks like he's able to get back to the throttle quicker than Reynolds, and coming up out of the corner, he's able to pull away from him a little bit, but Reynolds closes it right back up when they get down into the corner.
Yeah, and it's really funny to watch from the middle of the track camera like we got showing right now. you'll see the 27 car get real close and then back off, and then you'll see the 83 get real close and then back off. It's really an accordion effect as Dale Reynolds goes to the inside of Joe Von Cherry to make this pass for 7th place.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to make it here, and the unfortunate part for Joe Von Cherry, everyone behind Dale Reynolds saw that exact move and is going to follow suit. So
there's 4 more cars to go.
Yeah, Joe Von is probably going to get freight trained here and lose about 3, possibly 4 positions before he's going to be able to find him a way back down that inside lane unless he's able to shove it down in front of Hinkle right there, which I don't know if he's going to have the room to do before this is over.
Yeah, and he was able to find an open spot, but with all that going open, he went in and looked on the inside again and made it too wide. But look in the back of this field right here. You got the 34 of Ben Britton in 13th place, so he's making his way up from a 19th place position for a couple laps ago. And Hinkle gets tight going in, almost hits the 20 and hits the 3 instead.
Yeah, Hinkle is, we talked about him a little bit earlier, alluding back to Martinsville. He's one of those drivers that, some guys like to shift down in the third and try to slow that car down. Hinkle likes to use those brakes.
Yeah, and, it looks like he's got a little bit more front brake dialed in as well, like Travis McKinney did earlier in the race, or excuse me, Kevin Buchanan did. So I think that's affecting him a lot right now.
Yeah, like you said, you got too much of that front brake dialed in. You start getting down into the corners and you see those puffs of smoke like that, the wheels are starting to jump around a little bit, starting to get that chatter, and as long as that's happening, you're not turning the car any at all. So, it just makes you kind of slide up a little bit, the track there a little bit, plus it's heating up those front tires. So, Mr. Terry Hinkle there, that number 12, he's got to get that fixed quick.
Yeah, and all of that is just a little bit of dial on your dashboard. All you gotta do is turn to the left, turn to the right, and you can dial in more front brake or less, or more rear brake. And it's really super as simple as that.
And it's amazing too. Talking about that, this is one of the things. Getting ready for this week's Pure Sim. One of the things I kind of played around with was the brake bias on my car, and it's amazing how just not a lot of adjustment on that brake bias will make a huge difference on how that car is going to act. I know, with mine, I started off running at I think it was a 54% to the front, and the car was, just a little too much front brake. But then I dialed it to 60% for the rear brake, and holy cow, the whole rear end came around as soon as I got on the brake. So it doesn't take a whole lot of change on that car either to change how it's going to act on the corner.
Absolutely, and not everybody's going to have the same amount of brake bias as the guy next to them. So it is up to the driver to figure out what you need. And, it's going to be based on feel. What does it feel like going in the corner? Is the back end coming around, or is the front end just, locking up on you? So it is all based on feel.
Exactly, it is based on feel, and every driver, like you said, Stephen, will have a different bias that, just about. I know, several races I've worked with Timmy St. Jean at number 83, and he's one of those guys who he would much rather have the rear brake in that car than the front. I know a lot of tracks he uses that brake bias to help him turn through the corners as it gets on later in the run. He dials it more brake into that back and rear brakes and helps them to get around the corners as it puts more brake on that rear end and causes it to slide around a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't know. And to me as a driver, I'm, racing on the Thursday night races and stuff like that. Once I got my brake bias set, I'm usually set throughout the race unless I feel something that I need to adjust it for, but it's very rare that I actually see that. But as you were talking about Timmy seems like he's, in the 83 car, Tim St. Jean, he seems like he's usually working on that every 10 laps, making another adjustment to it to compensate for the car and what it's doing.
Exactly. Yeah, Timmy's one of those guys that's constantly, race goes on, he is consistently working on different things within that car, and a lot of times, you'll see him towards the end of the race making his way back up the front just because of that. So, sometimes that can pay off big dividends at the end.
And as we were speaking there, the 34 finally got around the 12 of Jerry Hinkle, now for the 12th place position. As also did Buchanan, or Kevin Buchanan in 14th, and in the 15th position. Travis McKinney got around second to Monto for 14th and 15th. So Kevin McKinnon making his way back forward as well as Travis McKinney.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate piece for these guys. They put themselves, into a position where they're back there, that track position we talked about a little bit earlier, coming out there. Looks like we got a caution back out here on the track. I'm trying to kind of look around the track here, see what we can find. But like you were talking about, these guys have been unable to get that, track position back, after, a couple of pit stops and stuff, and getting mired back there a little bit in the traffic, so that causes a lot of havoc in trying to get your car back up to the front. But Ben Britton, just like you said, one of those guys, talking about too, he's moving himself steadily back up towards the front there after the incident he was involved with a little bit earlier. So, but we'll kind of take a look at the replay here, kind of see what happened.
Yeah, it looks like the 78 may have locked up the tires and pushed up the traction of the 51, and it caused the 78 to go around. Luckily, though, for the 51, he's got probably quite a bit of damage out of that now that incident happened. But he didn't hit the outside wall, so he just got inside damage.
Yeah, it looks like 78 Chris Melton, just like you said there, you see that puff of smoke just as he got down into the corner there going into turn one. And it's one of the things we've been talking about it all night. A lot of these guys are getting down in there and a little too much brake, and it's causing that wheel hop, just like you talked about. And once he got that wheel hop, he had no more turn left in the car. And you see right there in the slow-mo replay, he just went straight up the track, and the 51 just happened to be the unlucky one that was there.
He
got up on the hood. Yeah, it looks like the rear end of that car came right across the hood. It kind of looked like the Brad Keselowski incident from a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, definitely a hard hit there for the 78, backing it into the wall even after it went across the hood of the 51, but I'm sure that Nick Tim's got quite a bit of damage off of that too, on that left front. So that's something that he's going to have to get in the pits, get those crew members to beat those fenders back as straight as they can possibly get them, and get back out there on the track and try to salvage a good run out of the night. But Nick, one of those guys, who's he's out here, trying to get himself back up into the points contention here. So he's had a rough few races, but trying to get himself back up in there. Currently running in 12th after losing a position last week.
Yeah, and you see the 42 came into his pit stop. He overshot it, and that's the one bad thing about the first pit stop here in Archer Sim Racing is if you go past that line, and once you go past that line, it takes the chance for you to be able to pit. So he had to pull right back out without pitting, and I don't know if he's going to go back in this next time by, but it's definitely going to hurt him when he was back up into the top 13 position.
Yeah, that's one of you talked about a little bit earlier, being, you talking about a great equalizer. That pit road can be that exact thing, too. I mean, just like you see right there, Travis, and that's, if I'm mistaken, the second time he's had an issue on pit road here tonight, and, that has cost him a lot of track positions both times that it has happened. So, unfortunately, second pit road incident there with Travis McKinney, and, it continues to, pit road seems to be plaguing him here tonight.
Yeah, and to confirm, he did go back to get those 4 fresh tires, so it did definitely did put him back in the 24th position, so a hard mistake to learn by tonight. And I believe we got 2 wave rounds of one of 88 of Ed Wilson and the 32 of Justin Barton, as well as the 30 car of Kevin Kelly getting a lucky dog.
Kevin Kelly getting that lucky dog after he took a wave around, back around lap 100. So Kevin Kelly's still out there fighting right now, trying to get the very most he can out of this run tonight. He's been pretty quiet so far. Currently shows him as a lap down, so it won't be much longer. Well, that should put him back on the lead lap right there to get that lucky dog. So, that'll move Kevin Kelly up into the top 24 right now, as we got 25 cars left on the lead lap. So, but I'll tell you the surprising stat here, and I'm real impressed with these guys and the way things are going tonight. But we've actually only got, looks like, a few cars out of the race tonight, 4 so far. you know, at 200 laps in, at a track like this, that's a very good stat right there.
Yeah, it definitely is. And then you alluded to there's 4 out, well, there's 4 also a lap down with Dr. Stout being next in contention for the Lucky Dog, 1 lap down. Justin Barton gets back one of those laps and is now 1 lap down instead of 2. Ed Wilson is 2 laps down. And then you got John Lawler, who is multiple laps down as well.
Yeah, John Lawler, one of those guys, like I said, we talked about it. He's going to be out here till the end, unless that car just completely won't go no more. But he's one of those guys that, regardless of how much damage he's going to take, he'll still run. He'll be out there trying to make up every position and every point he can as the year goes along. But looks like we're getting lined up here to go back to green flag racing here. As Ben Bando will be leading them down the way, has chosen that inside line once again as the 15 of Darren Bench is up on that outside. So it's Tony Ball back in third again. We get the green flag running in state. Jeremy Edith back there at fourth, but you know, they head off into there. It looks like everybody got themselves a good run, but looks like Brian Lee up there on that outside. It looks like he locked the brakes up going down turn 1, and it's going to cost him a few positions there as a few cars get around him.
Yeah, and looks like we got a car around in the back. It looks like the 87 went around.
Yeah, I mean, that's the case. And another unfortunate bit that number 87 of Kevin Kelly Jr.
Oh, man, we had another caution
like
up in turn 3 and 4 as well about it, too.
Yeah,
so
a lot
2 separate incidents here. And, you know, that could be a result of trying to slow down for the caution. And, you know, you're just in that corner, and they may have, once you lifted, they may have pushed up. We'll have to see if we can take a look at it.
Yeah, and that's easy to happen here. I mean, that actually happened to me there Thursday night. Was having a good battle with the 27 of Dale Reynolds there in Thursday night's Pure Sim race, and you know, we were 3 wide at one point coming off of turn 2, and you know, going down into turn 3, we got back single file. Guys spun right in front of him, and you know, I was one of those guys that just couldn't get it slowed down quick enough. And unfortunately, got into the back of Dale Reynolds, and you know, made the incident that much worse.
Yeah, and we can look at the replay on the screen right now. It looked like the 48 of Dominic LaRusso just got loose and hit the side of the 87, putting him into the inside retaining wall. So there's going to be a lot of front damage for him.
Yeah, the 87, Kevin Kelly Jr. there definitely went hard into that inside wall and slid it about halfway down the backstretch right there. But once again, it kind of lose back. You talked about it a little bit earlier, the 62 of Doc Stout and the 51 of Nick Timms. You know, that's one of those incidents right there, too. Had the 87 not been there, it would have been a horrible ending for the 48 on that one.
Yeah, and then we take a look at the second incident that would happen at the same time as the 87 was going around. It looked like the 12 car just pushed up the track a little bit, got into the 78, and that got the 12 around. Oh, man, and that, wow, looked like Justin Barton and Kevin Kelly, who just took a wave around, and a Lucky Dog got involved in that.
Ooh, yeah, Kevin took a hard hit right there when he went into the, looks like Barton right there, so he's probably going to have some significant front end damage right there. As he hit him doing a pretty good chunk of speed right there. But Jerry Heekle himself too, that's going to be one of the cars. We've talked about him a few times tonight. He's been fighting his way through this field all night long. But of course, that one's going to do a lot of damage, I'm sure, to that car. But we'll see here as we go, you know, as we pick up the pace car here. It's going to be interesting to see just what the pit strategies might turn out to be here. Because one of the things I've noticed here so far tonight, Stephen, is that every caution, regardless of how many laps they've been out there, it seems like, you know, there's certain cars, Ben Bando being one of them, that hits pit road and gets new tires and fuel. Every caution, regardless of, you know, how many laps they've been out there. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, if he will follow suit and do the same thing once again this time.
Yeah, you know, it makes a big difference for these guys, and there's really no sense of taking a chance of going out there on 30-lap tires, losing that position, and then while you're sitting there struggling, losing that position, spinning out, causing an accident, or going back into the 24th or worse position. And that just goes to show, look at Travis McKinney, who had that problem in pit road. Well, since that problem on pit road, it just compounded with problems. His first incident on pit road was spinning out, and then he got in an incident with the 8 car trying to get around him, and then just the last caution before this, he had problems on getting into his pit box on pit road. So I definitely think it's a smart move to go ahead and go down pit road every chance you get. Now later in the race, if we're talking about, lap 275 or a little bit later than that, now's the time to stay out, as most people should be following through.
Exactly. Let's go back to green flag racing here. This is going to say too, Dr. Scott was a lucky dog in that last caution, and that puts him back up on the lead lap. So we'll add another car to the lead lap next as we're heading out, coming out of turn 2 here. Looks like the 13 is Tony Ball down on the inside of the 15 of Darren Benz. Looks like 13 may have some horsepower to be able to beat him coming down here into turn 3 here. So according to how Tony Ball gets off the corner here in 3, as he moves out a little wide, moves up in front of the 15 and takes over that number 2 position now and sits right on the leader, Ben Bando. But there's guys shuffled around all throughout the pack back there.
Yeah, and that's correct. You got the 13 and the 33 both out of the ACR camp, and we spoke about how well Tony Ball's been doing. So with 33 being a leader so early, or so many laps in this race, I wouldn't put it past them that they have the identical setup into that car.
Yeah, that's true there. They may very well have very similar setups as, Darren Benz settled himself into 3rd with Jeremy Enix down in 4th. And guy we talked about a little bit earlier is having himself a good run back there in 5th position at number 20 of Jovan Cherry after that cycle through the pits there. He's moved himself up into 5th and starting to look a little racy out there himself. So he might be deciding it's time to start moving towards the front, take advantage just like several others have of that track position. And the guy we haven't talked about for a little while too, right back behind him a little further, 83 of Timmy St. Jean currently running in 7th. So Timmy's starting to make his way back up towards the front again, as we saw him a little bit earlier during the race up there in the front, but haven't talked about him for a number of laps now.
Yeah, and now you've got William Robertson in the 1 car making his way to the top 10. Let's go around as well as Kevin Buchanan making his way back to the top 10, and he's trying to put that or get around the 1 car for 8th position.
Yeah, and Robertson there, that number 1 car you talked about too, he's having a very good run here himself tonight. He's been relatively quiet throughout the night, but he looks a little bit behind him up there at 10th place position. We talked about him earlier, at number 34 of Ben Britton. He's took some damage, but he's making the best of it, working on that car continuously and getting it a little better. He's moving himself up into a top 10.
The difference now with the 34 car is he's got Tyson at 16, who is 3 cars ahead of him, so that points lead has been cut in half, or he was in 20th position while that Brian Lee was in 10th, so he definitely cut into that points game that the 16 car had earlier in the race.
Right, and that's the thing you got to be thinking about. If you're in that number 34 with Ben Britton tonight, you got to be thinking, you moved in the last 2 weeks, you picked up 40 points or so on the point leader Brian Lee, so you got to make sure to make this as many points as you possibly can here tonight to, or at least don't lose no more than, 3 or 4 points. Number 16 of Brian Lee, to try to keep him in your sights and within a manageable distance, to that championship.
Yeah, and Ben Britton is doing a really good job at that, as well as the 16 is trying to fight for that 5th place position and get around Jovan Cherry. But, we spoke earlier whenever Ben Britton did get into that incident, and the 16 got really loose on the turn 4, allowing the 83 to go to the high side. It's going to be hard for him to finish that pass, but definitely he's going to give it a shot. But back to, the 1 car spins out around on the backside, and the 7 car gets involved.
Unfortunate. We just talked about Robertson too, having himself a good run out here tonight, but that's man, I hate to see that happen for him. But just before that happened, one of the things I was looking at, looking back through the field a little bit there, we have that 23 car we talked about several times. Was running on fight again. He put that car behind the wall. Looks like the engine just shut down on him. Those that doesn't look like a blown engine, but possibly an electrical problem. The engine shut down.
And as we go back into the replay, it looks like the 67 of Kevin Buchanan got in the back of the 1 car. That's really a hard place. It looks like he's going just, coming out of the turn, and that's a difficult place to do a ball like that. It always usually ends.
Yeah, it looks like Buchanan may have got into him going into the corner there too. Looks like the number one got into the brakes a little harder than 67 did getting into the corner, and they got a little touch there, but looks like the 67 was able to get back to the throttle a little earlier coming out of the corner too, and like you said, wrong place to tuck, and it sent the one of Robertson just right around, and also collects the 7 there of Howard Wildrick, unfortunate bystander in this incident. Yeah, it's interesting to see a lot of those guys, they were just scattering once they seen that one up there. So, unfortunate incident, and unfortunate for the number one car tonight. Definitely, after working through the night and working his way up through the field, getting into that top 10 and to, see it in, kind of go down like that, I know it's got to be heartbreaking for him right now, as most of our leaders did head down pit road once again, as they have been throughout the night, but we had a few that stayed out there right now. Looks like Nick Tim stayed out, going to lead himself a lap here, as well as Jerry Hinkle and Dennis Wright have all stayed out, but looks like Dennis Wright is down on the apron. He plans on coming in, but Tony Ball will, looks like he may have done, he was the first car off the pit lane. Looks like he's had himself a real good pit stop, so, he'll be most likely taking over the lead here once, the pit cycles through.
Yeah, we got Nick Timms and look like the 12th car of Jerry Hinkle, who stayed out this time by, I expect the 51 to go ahead and the 12 to go ahead and go in on pit road. We got Ed Wilson, who is back in what looks like showing in the 3rd position on the track right now, is probably going to stay out and try to give another waiver round, and that'll put him 1 lap down if these 2 lead lap cars go in.
Yeah, and that would probably be, at this point for Ed Wilson, that would probably be a very smart move. I mean, looks like the 32 car of Dustin Barden will be our lucky dog once this all cycles, it will cycle through. That'll put Justin Barden back on the lead lap, the 25th car on the lead lap. And then Ed Wilson, if he takes this waiver round, will only be a lap down and, in the lucky dog position then at that point. So he's got himself a chance here to get back on the lead lap, which would be a great recovery for Ed Wilson, who we talked about earlier in the race, smacked that wall hard.
Yeah, and at this point right now, Jerry Hinkle is the only person he's hoping and praying right now that he'll go in and pit, and that'll allow the 88 to go ahead and get 1 more lap to the positive side. And I expect the 12 car to go ahead and pit. He stayed out, looked like to get that 1 bonus point for leading the lap.
Yeah, and it looks like Jerry's starting to move down close to that apron, so I would look to see him head down pit road here, just like you said, Stephen, as he is now slowing, to head down pit road. So that'll allow Ed Wilson the opportunity to get that waiver round, put himself another lap closer. So put himself into the lucky dog position then, get that another lap back, and he'll be back on the lead lap, continuing fighting for positions then. So Ed Wilson out there sticking it out and gutting it out tonight, and looks like he may be able to still make something out of the night for him in that beat up car.
Absolutely, and if we're going back to double file right now, looks like they probably got the 1 to go there as the waiver rounds were sent. Tony Ball is our leader at this point, and I'm interested to see will the 33 be able to make this pass on the outside. He's always chose the inside lane on these restarts, and nobody's been able to get around him. So it's definitely going to be fun to see turn 1 as soon as they take the green.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting. I don't think I've seen the Bando out there on the outside first time he restarted out there so far tonight. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the restart plays out with Bando in that 33 up on the outside. He's always been on the inside so far tonight. So he gets the green flag here. He's got Jeremy Higgins right behind him. But it looks like he got a real good jump coming down to the front finish line there. So he's going way out wide there. So
yeah,
going down into 1.
He jumped the gun and got ahead of that 13 before start-finish line. And the rule states you cannot beat the leader to the start-finish line, so he had to back out of it and get that position back before turn 2. So it wasn't the restart that he had hoped for. As we go 3 wide, he's right behind those two.
Yeah, it looks like Danny Gutierrez coming up off a 2 there. That rear end just about got away from him, but he does some fishtailing there, and everyone scattered, put him 3 wide going down the backstretch. So very good piece of driving there by Danny Gutierrez to keep it off of everyone. But wow, it gets tense there for a moment for everybody involved. But looking at this pack right here, though, right there where Enix, Cherry, Gutierrez are all at, one of the cars I'm seeing climbed his way back into the mix, that 42. Travis McKinney. He's back up there and is fighting for 6th place now. So McKinney's starting to get back towards the front now after, hanging out in the back for a long time thanks to those issues with pit road. So Travis might be trying to finally got those pit road issues fixed and working on things now to get back up towards the front.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating day for Travis McKinney in the 42 car. I mean, he's had so much issues on the track and in pit road that right now I think he's happy to be in the 6th place position as he passes Brian Lee on the inside.
Exactly, yeah, he passes Brian Lee down on the inside, takes over the 6th place position, so knocking on the outside of the top 5 now as he continuing to try to march forward now, running right behind the number 20 of Joe Poncherry, who's having himself a real good night out here also tonight. Joe Vaughn, he's been back and forth throughout the night through the pack, but currently running up inside that top 5 and having a real good run. But, as the lights wind down, Travis McKinney, he's been frustrated most of the night, like you alluded to, Stephen. He's had issues down on pit road, and now he's starting to try to get that car back up toward the front. He's starting to get a little anxious now as he got about just over 75 laps here. So it's about time, he's made his way back to the front. It's time to start putting that thing, formulating your plans on how you're going to get back to the number 1 position.
Yeah, and back to the lead, the 33 of Ben Bando as the 08 car gets underneath the 13 of Tony Ball for the 2nd place position. You
talk about all this happening, the longer, and I refer back to Travis McKinney, that 42, the longer he's mired back there, the bigger lead that gives 33 of Ben Bando with him trying to chase him down. So he's got to start, getting up to his back. Even Jeremy Enix, you see back there, currently running right now in 4th. He's been up there quite a bit tonight and, got some very impressive stats here at Loudon, New Hampshire Speedway. So
yeah, and as you say that, the 42 gets around the 20 or gets to the inside of the 20 car and gets that position for 5th place.
Exactly. So we're starting to line the laps down here. It's just about time to start pulling the trigger for some of these guys, start moving and showing what you got now.
Yeah, and you're looking at the 42, he's making up all these positions right now early, and this is the time he's got to make up those positions. But the problem is we still got some laps left in this race that if it goes green here to the end, he's going to have some trouble, with those tires. And this is what he needs. The 29 just pulled over and gave up that position to let him go on by.
Yeah, the 29 senior was coming and definitely had a faster car at this point. So, rather than make it difficult on him, 29 moves over, allows him to go on around. So, very good sportsmanship shown by Jeremy Enix right there, in doing so and noticing that.
Absolutely. When we go to the 08, of Danny Gutierrez, he resides in Southern California. That's why you see the back quarter fender showing SoCal. This is probably the best run I've seen him have in several weeks. He's having some issues on the track. And right now running in 2nd place, so definitely a good run for the 08 of Danny Gutierrez.
Yeah, looking right behind him, here comes that 42 around the 13 of Tony Ball. So Travis McKinney he looks like he's a man on a mission now.
He is a man on a mission. He's made his way under. Oh, you say that, and he gets that apron again. I believe we've seen him do that once before. And it's too slick to do that at this point. And a good save, though. I mean, because that's going to end up disaster. So definitely a good save. He's going to have to work back on the 13 car again.
Yeah, that's the 2nd time we've seen Travis do that tonight down there in that same turn, too. So, he definitely likes to try to get down close to the kid of that yellow line coming up off the corner. And that's twice we've seen tonight, about losing the car doing that same thing. So, he got it back up nicely, got it back together, and now he's got to start picking off that time once again. But as that happened, it looks like the 13 was able to pick up some ground there on the 08 of Danny Gutierrez as he inches forward a little closer to Gutierrez's bumper there, getting down into turn 3 here. But with all this going on, Ben Vasco is just continuing to pull away at this point.
Yeah, and you got 2 through 6 place getting closer and closer as the 8 and the 13 are about to start battling out, and that 42 closes that gap again. So, and the 13 car, it looks like he's giving the 08 car of Danny a good bump in the corner, so saying, hey, buddy, I'm here. You might want to let me by.
Yeah, he's definitely give him a couple of good shots right there, matter of fact, to let him know that I'm here, but knock, knock, look right behind you, look who's called up.
We got a train and we're coming. You better either move it or lose it, buddy.
Yeah, it looks like with all this going on with the 08 to 13 up there, the 42 definitely closed the
Gives him
gap
another
quick
bump
there.
in the turn. Got him a little loose coming out, and that's exactly what we saw earlier in this last caution in that same spot, but it was such a smaller bump that he was able to hang on to it. So it's definitely, he's telling him, hey, buddy, I've got these guys behind me, and I got to get moving.
Yeah, these guys, like we said a little bit earlier, it's just about that time, so whoa, see some smoke right there. Looks like the 42 coming around.
Going around.
He spins it right there in front of Jeremy Enix. Doesn't look like anyone got collected in that, and looks like they're staying green, but wow, looks like the 42 got down on that apron once again.
Yeah, and we talked about the 42, going hard early. Those tires get loose or get heat build up in that right rear, and if it gets built up too much, you're going to have issues. And that's what it looks like what happened with Travis McKinney right there. Just got it too hot, spun it around, which is a good call. Another good call by these track officials keeping it green. I mean, he spun a 360, was able to keep it going. No one was in danger at that moment, and they continue on.
Wow. Nice, like you said, Steven, nice job of driving by everyone behind him to keep from, getting into him. So, unfortunate for McKinney, going to drop quite a few positions and start all over once again. So, tough break for tonight's pole sitter, number 42 of Travis McKinney, but, you can't lose your head now.
Yeah, and it put the pressure on he was putting the pressure on the 13 car. Well, at the same time, the 13 is trying to put pressure on the 8 car. So what that ends up resulting is the 18 or the 13 car is not going to give up that position so easily, and it looked like the 42 of Travis McKinney got to the inside of the 13, just and the 13 chopped his nose off, which of course McKinney that dang apron, and that apron is what got him in trouble once again.
Yeah, as you said earlier in the night, that apron is not your friend.
With that move, though, it split up that 2nd through 6th place. Now we got some air in between these cars. So they're going to have to bunch back up, and if they're going to plan on moving forward anytime soon, they're going to have to catch the 08 and the 13 car.
Yeah, and you talk about that. Looks like Enix is back there at 29. He's starting to reel them in little by little now. So, he's steadily climbing forward after he had to do all that checkup and lost that valuable time. So he's definitely moving closer to him inch by inch, as the laps are clicking down. But, I'm kind of looking around here a little bit. Enix right now has definitely made up some time and, starting to, close that gap quite a bit. There's about 0.2 of a second or so, maybe between the 13 and the 29. It looks like Gutierrez will move up the track right there and finally allow the 13 the opportunity to get down underneath him. And Enix closes up on the 08. Looks like he may try to take advantage of that too and try to get to that inside going down here to turn 1. As he did, he closes in quick. He gets some smoke there. He may have to get on the binders a little hard to stay off the 08 right there.
Absolutely, and I think that was a smart move by the 08 to let that 13 car by, especially many times he's giving them that bump, and the 13 is probably getting frustrated. He closed the door on the 29 of Jeremy Enix going into 1, but it's just not enough to keep him at bay. The 29. Well, if I'm wrong, the 8 car is able to clear him out of 4. And 16, and Darren Benz in the 15 car back on top of him again, though.
Whoa, looks like the 08 right there got very loose coming up off of turn 2. Wow.
Yeah, and we saw
nice
that
save.
not 10 laps ago with that 08 car, so he's got issues coming out of the turn in really loose conditions.
Yeah, that car is definitely loose there, and once again, Jeremy, that 29 is really starting to think, what's going on in front of me. First it's McKinney, in the 42, and now the 08 doing this. He's got to start getting a little bit worried and thinking to himself, I've got to get in front of these guys.
Well, that's exactly right. You've got that it's 29, 16, and 15 are all looking at the 08 like, oh man, are we in the wrong position? So at that point, the 08 is in a little bit more trouble. I would imagine Pagano's going to put pressure on him from those other three guys to get around him, just to make sure that they're not involved in a late race caution here.
Yeah, it looks like the 08, as we're talking about, it looks like he got loose again right there coming off of turn 2. It seems like he's having some trouble with the bump coming off of 2, but I'm noticing too, he's not really diving that car down to the yellow line first entering the corner now like he was earlier in the run. So maybe trying to compensate for that car being loose a little bit by running just a little bit higher, but he's not running high enough yet, that's allowing the 29 and the rest of that group to get down underneath him. But it's only about a half a lane up off the yellow line.
Yeah, just really hard track to get around on, especially if you can't get to the inside of that guy before you enter the turn. That's the only time that you're going to get a chance to get around that guy. And you can pass on the outside. We haven't seen it very often here tonight, and that's usually because of our long inside runs. Once those tires wear off, that outside lane just doesn't open up. And it reminds me a lot of Bristol, the old Bristol. That bottom lane was, that was the lane to have. You had to have that lane to get by anybody. And so what they had to do is they had to use the bump and run. So, as these laps wind down, we're at 2:44 to 3:01. I wouldn't put it past a couple of these guys to start using that bump and run.
Yeah, like you said, that was the way to get around the old Bristol, and Loudon's a lot that way. Same thing. I mean, we saw it a little bit earlier with the 13 of Tony Ball and the 08 of Gutierrez. He 13 definitely had the faster car, was getting runs up on him, and the 08 just wasn't cooperating, so to speak, with the 13's plans, and so he gave him a few shots, lap after lap, and then finally Gutierrez, kind of was getting the message, I guess you would say, and moved up and allowed that 13 to go on by.
Yeah, but it's funny that for the 08 car, or the 13 car to be bumping and stuff like that with the 08, these guys are loose. 29 got off loose on turn 2, and also the 15 did. I mean, the track it's cooling down, but it just seems like they're probably pushing it so hard right now that they're starting to wear those tires out. Oh my gosh, Kevin Buchanan, I don't know if he had any help in that, but he got sideways out of turn 4, and looked like the 83 was right behind him. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Let's go back and take a look at that.
Yeah, he pounded that wall pretty hard right there too, but kind of looking up here, we talked about this a few moments ago too, that 88 ahead Wilson getting that wave around.
And as we look at the replay, this 67 is seeing exactly what everybody else is seeing. He got loose out of turn 4, smacked the outside wall. Great job by the 83 and the 34 of Ben Brittain. And got on the inside without causing an incident there.
But yeah, like I was alluding to there earlier, we talked about Ed Wilson was able to get that wave around a little bit earlier, put himself one lap down in the lucky dog position. But this thing did stay green. It stayed green for quite a few laps. So Bando has gotten around the 88 of Ed Wilson once again. So Ed Wilson now showing as 2 laps down, still our lucky dog. But he was definitely probably hoping to get that waiver, get another caution there, and get back on the lead lap a lot quicker. But now he's got his fight cut out a little bit more as Ben Bando continues to make laps around here and has stretched the lead out right now to a little over 7 seconds. So as this race continues to wear on, Ben Bando has definitely got the dominant long run car. That's what we've seen so far tonight. So if anybody I think is going to be able to beat Bando tonight, there's going to have to be a caution with 3 or 4 laps to go and really kind of pin that guy down.
Yeah, you know, I think that's exactly right. You're going to have to beat them one out of pit road if they pit. And that the only way you're going to be able to do that is probably take 2 tires and hope that they are enough to sustain that lead over him. And really the only time you're going to be able to do that is when you do have 5 laps to go or something like that, and banking on multiple cautions to keep those tires cool. Otherwise, I just don't think you're going to be able to do that unless, you know, with the 33, if you can get him stuck on the outside on a restart.
Yeah, I'm looking up here, what we're talking about, all that stuff going on, everything with Ed Wilson, and we were talking there, the 29 of number that moved himself, Jeremy Enix has moved himself up into the third place position, as, you know, a lot of cars have been able to get around Gutierrez now, as that car still seems to be very free out there right now, as Enix, Lee, Ben, Jovan Cherry, and Chris Melton have all gotten around Danny Gutierrez, but Jeremy Enix has, you know, moved himself up into third. Yeah, we got a caution out on that, but I was about to say, Jeremy Enix, after getting around the 08 of Gutierrez, has been able to, you know, really close up on that 13 and reel him in. So, you know, Jeremy is definitely looking to continue to move his car forward.
Yeah, and looking at the replay, you were talking about how wicked loose that 08 car of Danny Gutierrez was. He looks like he just got a little loose, smacked the wall, and this time, unfortunately, the 83 was not able to avoid the card like he did with the 67.
Yeah, and that 83 took a hard shot, too, into that inside wall right there. As you can see, come off of it and come to the ground. That nose and caved in pretty good. So, unfortunately, it's been a big for that 83. I'd say he's on to right now. 34 of Ben Britton. That's about the second or third time he's been right there when an incident happened and not been involved. So, he's definitely getting away with some lucky ones tonight.
Yeah, especially this late in the race. You know, he was unlucky at the beginning of the race, and now he is getting that luck back on his side and able to maximize on that. I mean, he's running in 8th position with Brian Lee just right in front of him in 4th position. So that's only 4 points that at this point he would gain on Ben Britton. So definitely a good way to recapitalize on what's going on tonight with Ben Britton.
And it looks like after this, with this caution, Ed Wilson in that 88 machine will be our lucky dog. But you know, he's probably sitting there to himself, thinking of that car, man. If that could have happened about 5-10 laps ago, I'd be sitting pretty right now. So once everything cycles through, though, when Ed Wilson takes that lucky dog, that'll put him back into the 1 lap down position, but finally have some fresh tires and such. But looks like we had one car actually stayed out. The number 1 of Robertson stayed out. So it'll be an interesting call here to see if he continues to stay out. You know, it looks like up front here a little bit earlier was involved in that last caution. So, you know, he stays out. Looks like he's just staying out to lead a lap, but he does stay out on the track now as the lap down cars hit pit road. So, well, Robertson is out there right now in the only car, but looks like the first car that actually made it off of pit road out of that lead group that hit pit road and got some 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles will be the 33 of Ben Bando once again.
You're right, he's still the leader, and everybody actually followed suit as they went in. They came out exactly the same. 13 car, Tony Ball came out in 2nd place, and then 29 of Jeremy Enix came out in 3rd, as Brian Lee came out in 4th.
Yeah, so not a whole lot of shake-up right there, but kind of like you said, you know, Ben Britton now showing you that 8th place position, you know, only 3 positions behind Brian Lee, so Ben Britton doing a good job of trying keeping that car out there and, you know, making his best ditch effort, so to speak, and not losing any more points than what he has to tonight.
Yeah, and, you know, we even talk about Ed Wilson as the number 1. Looks like he's going to peel off, go ahead and go down pit lane. And I just wanted to get that bonus point, the all-important bonus point. If we go back to Ed Wilson, you're right. You know, as he goes on the left side, you see him there. what a tough break. He was just a couple of laps away from being on the lead lap, and then the caution fell as he got put one lap down. So he's still fighting for it, and now that he is a lucky dog and one lap down, there will only be one other car with him a lap down, and I believe that's the number 51 car, Nick Tim.
Yeah, Nick, who's on pit road right now, is coming off pit road, so looks like you are correct. According to the scoring here, Nick Timms and 88 of Ed Wilson will be the two cars scored a lap down as it is right now. Looks like while we've been talking, though, also, we've lost the number 7 car of Howard Wildrick as went back there behind the wall also, so we'll add another car to the guys who haven't been able to, who have now put their cars behind the wall, so that'll put us currently at 5 cars, I think it is? 6 cars, I'm sorry. 6 cars over the course of 258 laps here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway that will not be finishing the race tonight.
You're right, and we go back to talk about John Mahler, the man that will, endure during a race even with a damaged car. He is actually being scored behind Howard Wildrick in the, I believe it's the 28th position. But because he stays out on track, before too long he'll be scored in the 27th position, one ahead of Howard Wildrick. So definitely staying out, making up as many points as he can as we get ready to go back green.
Yeah, it looks like Nick Timms says we're going to get ready to go back to green. Looks like he went down the pit road again. I don't know if he maybe had a penalty or if he just went back to check something, but he took a second trip down pit road now as we're coming around to take the green flag here. As we get the green flag flies, and Ben Bendo down on the inside with a good start. But I think 13 there. Looks like he may have been a little late on that start. The 16 of Brian Lee gave him a good shot to get him going. Right now, the 29 of Jeremy Enix is setting sights on, that number 1 position with the 33 up there. He's still got to clear the 13 as they head off down to turn 3 here, but looks like he should be able to carry him. The Tony Ball's way up high there, getting into the corner, and he moves up in front. Well, it looks like he's going to move up in front of the 13 and take that position, but they're still running side by side right now. So Tony Ball's got a good head of speed coming off of turn 4 off that high side, but won't be able to hold off Enix as they come out of turn 2 here. And Enix will move up in front of him and take over that number 2 position. So now's the time, if you're Jeremy Enix and that number 29, to start making all you can on the 33 of Ben Bando before these laps start winding down and try to get up there and take it over from him.
Yeah, you're right, and that's going to put the 13 in a predicament. Now he feels like he's pressured to go ahead and get back up in second place as he's been running for the last about 50 laps or so. And with us being 261 to 301 now, we only have about 40 laps to go ahead and get this done with. It'll be interesting to see. We saw him earlier with the 08. Will he give a lot of pressure to these guys or not as we go back into the 8th place position of Ben Britton and the 03 of Bruce Turner. The 34 is making his way back forward and actually going to take that position away, it looks like, out of turn 2 for the 7th place.
Yeah, it looks like these two are top 2 in the points right now, Ben Britton and Brian Lee. It's like, it's almost uncanny that if you see, it's like Brian Lee will take a position away, then you look right back and Ben Britton will take a position. So it's almost like you're playing tit for tat here, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Britton tried to keep as close as he possibly can in that point championship. After tonight, only 8 races good before he starts the chase. So right now, you're able to make up as many points as you can, and you know that Ben Britton would be very ecstatic, to come back from a very disappointing, so to speak, first half of his season. Getting the finishes through the first 4 or 5 races of the year that he thought he would, and has now been able to rebound back from that. But to go into the chase, as the number 1 guy leading these points after the first 26, that would be satisfying for him right there.
Absolutely, and we're talking about Britton. This is a guy that last year, and I want to even say even the year before that, led the whole first half of all the races going in the chase of 26 races. And right now he's currently out of that position by 9 points coming into this race. So it's definitely, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to do it, and I like his car. It actually states, be safe around racetracks. But I don't think that's what it needs to say. I think it needs to say be safe around racetracks, because this guy is doing a great job at staying out front and keeping his nose clean after early incidents.
Yeah, definitely. Ben is definitely working himself, working around the track. Even the damage he sustained early in this race, has been able to use pit strategy throughout the night, and also been able to use a lot of patience here, which I got to admire him for the patience he used tonight to move that car from the positions that the way things were. Early in the race he had a lot of damage, and he's been able to persevere and really move that car and keep it under control tonight. So he's done a good job of stuff I've ever seen tonight.
Absolutely. We were speaking about Ben Britton, but if we go up and talk about Brian Lee, this is a guy that seems like he can't catch a break. When he does get involved in the incident, that 34th car is able to capitalize on it. When the 34 gets in the incident, 16 is not able to do that, and that is why the points lead has come down from 40 to 20, and now to 9 points. And I expect to see within the next couple races, the 34 will be our points leader.
Yeah, and it's interesting to say too, and just like you said that, it wouldn't surprise me to see the points leader here over the next few races, but he's going to be able to do it also the way things look without a win this season.
Yeah, and that's the problem at this point. He's able to lead the first 26 races. Problem is, once we get into that chase, and he's usually in the chase with it because he's in first place going in. That's when that car tends to have issues, and most other people is able to capitalize on that, as he will go in without a win. So each win through the first 26 races, which is considered basically regular season, and if you get a win, you get 3 points for each win going into the chase, which is now our playoff. So if you have 2 wins, that gives you 6 points over a person that has 0. And talk about 6 points out on the track, it's tough to get that.
Exactly, it is very tough. Those bonus points for those wins can, be the all-inclusive deal closer, so to speak, in the championship. So, that could be something that, could make or break a season, so to speak, especially when you get into the chase, like you talked about. But, we're currently working lap 271 of 301 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the NuffRADIO 301. Let's go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break, and that way we'll be able to come back and bring you the final close of this commercial-free here on NuffWORLD TV. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this quick commercial break.
Link engaged.
Welcome to TeamSpeak, advanced voice communication software for any platform. TeamSpeak allows groups of people to communicate and share information with anyone via the internet or through private networks. Using your Windows, Mac or Linux-based computer, all you need is a headset with microphone, and in minutes you can be chatting with others in real time using our crystal clear voice technology. As a pioneer in the industry, TeamSpeak has become one of the most recognized brands in online gaming and voice-over IP solutions. TeamSpeak features include a customizable toolbar, a clickable server icon and support for channel icons, custom graphics and VB code-enabled info panes, detailed user info and support for uploading avatars, firewall-friendly file transfer. Tabs, public and private text chat with logging. Custom skins, themes, and sound packs. And much more.
I'm someone that's more than just a casual gamer. It's important to me to have fast, organized, quality voice comms. With TeamSpeak, I'm able to quickly customize user permissions and email with privilege keys to an offline user. So the next time they log into the server, they'll be set up exactly how I want them to be. TeamSpeak also lets us do file transfers, assign player rank, insignia, upload avatars, or create custom skins. For me, there's no better choice out there than TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak is free to use for non-commercial entities. Low-cost professional hosting is also available through our global network of authorized TeamSpeak host providers. For online gaming titles, social networks, government, military, or simulator projects, TeamSpeak also offers a software development kit. The TeamSpeak SDK allows developers to integrate our technology directly into their existing product or service. So no matter which game you're playing or with whom you wish to communicate, TeamSpeak has you covered. TeamSpeak. Flexible, powerful, crystal clear voice communication on any platform.
And welcome back to New Hampshire Speedway here in lovely Loudon, New Hampshire, for the race for the NuffRADIO 301, sponsored by NuffWORLD TV. You know, kind of looking around here, some things don't change. Ben Bandler is still up there in that number one position right now, still leading the way on lap 279 of 301. But kind of looking back through here, Stephen, a young man we haven't really talked a whole lot about tonight, that number 44 machine of Paul Hahn. You know, he's one of our rookies over here in NuffWorld, and that young man, you know, has pretty much, like I said, he's been quiet tonight, but currently running in the 12th place position, not far outside of him bringing himself a top 10 home. But he's one of those guys who's been quiet and methodical here tonight, and really has taken care of that car. And I can't remember seeing any incidents and such, so put together a good run for that young rookie here.
Yeah, and you know, definitely it probably was a little bit of a problem early in the run, like most of the guys were having a loose car, so it looks like he has gotten that car underneath him and making his way forward. Definitely a good run for Paul Hahn, this rookie.
Yeah, this young man is showing a lot of promise here. He's quite enjoyable to chat with. I've had a couple of chances to talk with him, but you know, put together a pretty good rookie season here. You know, learning all he can about NuffWorld, learning all he can about the other drivers out here to getting all that he can out there. So, and as we talk about him, you know, right there in front of him, looks like he just had a car spin out. I couldn't tell exactly who that was, but looks like with the caution out here on the speedway. Yeah, looks like that was the 78 of Chris Melton who was right there in front of him. So, you know, that's going to be tighten things back up now. I don't know if the caution was called though for the 78 or if there was another spin, what I'm hearing out there on the track. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to find out where exactly that one happened at. As I couldn't really find it here on my scoring. So it's going to be interesting to see what brought that caution out and how this stacks things up now with what is it, about 19 laps to go. So
yeah, and it looked like the first one was the 1 car going into turn 1. I'm not sure if he made contact with the 12 car. But he just got in there and got that wheel hop and was unable to get it under control. So that was a single car spin on him, and I think that the 78 caution is what probably brought out, the 78 was what probably brought out the caution. See if we can't bring that up for you.
yeah, it's real interesting. You don't see that a whole lot of times. 2 separate spins, both being single car spins on opposite ends of the track at pretty much about the same time. So,
and then we saw that twice tonight. You know, that's even more rare.
Yeah, so it's been some interesting racing, and like we talked about a little bit earlier, this track heated up throughout the night and has, you know, definitely brought these cars out to get quite loose. So, you know, we're starting to see the effects of it there. Looks like that the number, looks like we've had another car go behind the wall there. So, you know, it looks like Robertson has moved his car back there into the garage area. So, he may have done some damage there that we weren't able to see, or maybe just be a electrical issue. We've seen a few electrical problems so far here tonight.
Yeah, and we look at the 42 and the 78. This is the caution on the right side of your screen. This is what brought out the caution. 42 just flat turn. The 78 coming out of turn 4, and 7 spinning on a joyride.
Yeah, it looks like the 42 and the 78 there kind of came together, and unfortunately for the 78, it didn't end well for him. So, it's interesting looking at the replay here. Yeah, it looks like the 42 just kind of...
Are you there? Yeah, it's definitely something that, you don't... it's one of those things. These guys are racing tight. It looks like the 42 got underneath the 78, and then it was hard to tell whether the 78 came down on him or the 42 just came off the corner and into him.
Yeah, really couldn't tell if they got together or if shucks. If, it was just one of those things. Looks like. Yeah, it's hard to call up here from our position, and sometimes, there's always that Monday morning quarterback, so to speak, but you couldn't really tell from the angle there if the 78 did come down any at all, so that's a tough one, but it ended well, unfortunately, for the 78 car of Chris Melton.
Yeah, and this might be, I'm not sure, I'm trying to pull up the scoring monitor, but it looks like it froze on me. If the 88 is going to be able to get that wave around and get back on the lead lap, or if he fell down a lap there.
Yeah, he was fighting with the 51 of Nick Timms there, for that lucky dog position. I'm not sure. We'll have to go back and look. Looks like the 51 of Timms is going to be the lucky dog from the way it looks here as he goes around, so... But Ed Wilson, nevertheless, has stayed out. Looks like he's in front of the leaders right now. He's going to try to take that wave around. So that'll put him back up on the lead lap, too. So, that'll add us another 2 cars right there to our lead lap guys. So that'll leave 25 cars on the lead lap right now. And you spoke about a little bit earlier, Stephen, guys that, John Lawler specifically, that 64 machine. Staying out there with that damaged car and trying to run as many laps, throughout the night as he can get, with Robertson now going out in that number 1 machine, that'll move him another position forward. So, he could possibly make up another position here before it's all over with and finish inside, top 26. But, Ed Wilson does take the wave around here, so that'll put him back up on the lead lap now. So every position, so to speak, that Wilson picks up from this point on will be for a position and for points. So that'll be good for Ed Wilson. But, unfortunately, it happened a little late in the race for him. But still, with, less than 16 laps to go here when we take the green flag, it's definitely going to come down to be some interesting racing as Travis McKinney looks like he's going to be leading them to the green this time by.
Yeah, and you got the 33 on that outside, and if it was me in that 33, I'd race him back to the start-finish line. Even if I'm ahead of him, I would stay in it until I got into turn 2. Chances are, being on the outside, you're going to give up a little bit of position, but at least you won't lose all of it.
Yeah, as we get the green flag here, they head off the finish line. It looks like McKinney does have a little advantage as they start down into turn 1 here, but Bando has been able to make that outside line work coming up off of turn 2 so far. So it'll be interesting to see. It looks like several cars
hit the wall
sideways right there, but Bando definitely caught a piece of the wall there. As they get down into turn 3. They're about dead even here, so it's going to be a drag race back to the front finish line here. And we got some cars spinning. Looks like Brian Lee is around back there. Look at a caution out on the track. Wow, unfortunate chain of events right there. Looks like the 16 was got up in the wall. I'm not sure if he got turned or what happened, but going back to what you said earlier, Stephen, that 34 is able to capitalize once again.
Once again, 34 now is being shown in the 7th place position, and Brian Lee in the 23rd. So, what a tough break for the 16 of Brian Lee.
Yeah, these last few races for Brian Lee just, have not been what he was hoping for. He had a nice, comfortable lead there for quite some time in the point standings, but, according to how this all pans out towards the end, wow, that's it could be a new point for you by the end of the night now. But, definitely could be a point shake-up here after tonight, but that was some good racing we saw there. We're going to go back to green with under 10 laps to go when we go back, but Travis McKinney and Ben Bando definitely running side by side there for that entire lap, the entire lap we got to run, and looks like McKinney and Bando are going to be the two that will come down to here at the end, as McKinney has now been able to get that track position. But you never know, too, looking right behind the two of them, at number 29 is Jeremy Enix, which we said has 2 wins here and has always finished in the top 5. May have something to say before it's all over with, so it can get real interesting here with under 10 to go.
Yeah, and as you look at the replay on the right side of your screen, you've got 16 car on the outside. And he goes into turn 3, looks like the 13 car is just being a little bit impatient, got in the back of the 16 and just spun him around.
Yeah, looks like he got him a good lick right there, so looks like he may got him a few times. I'm not really sure there, but yeah, he definitely, looks like the 13 definitely got in there way too hot, got into the back end of the 16 car and, got him around, so. Unfortunate break for the 16 car of Brian Lee there tonight, who was having such a good run, had been up there in the top 5 pretty much all night. Yeah, unfortunate, like I say, for the 16 on that one. So, but that'll put him, as you said, Stephen, that'll drop him way back down in the grid right now, as he's currently showing in the 22nd position as we getting ready to come around. Looks like, and we're double file. We may be going green here pretty soon. So Brian Lee with that damaged car, as we get the green flag, is going to have a lot of ground to make up to he should finish tonight. So unfortunate. The 42, Travis McKinney got a real good run going into turn 1, but looks like Bando was able to close it back up on that outside line, getting into the corner, and they're side by side now. So we got another caution out on the track, it looks like. So, that'll bunched the field back up once again, so, not sure what happened. That must have been in the back of the field, as we couldn't see it from the angle we were looking at, but, either way, Travis McKinney's still going to maintain that lead as we're still under caution once again here, so no real change, as no one had a chance to really make any ground right there.
And, we spoke about this earlier, how to beat Bando, how to beat Ben Bando in that 33 being dominant so far. And now we've discussed it with with a couple laps left in the race. You got to be in front of him on this the restart, and you got to keep hoping that these cautions keep falling, so that you can stay out in front of him by the time we get a green white checker with 2 laps to go. So right now, 42's in the catbird seat, and definitely going to be hard for him. They got pit road open this time for everybody due to the minimum laps left in this race. But I want to go back to and talk about Ben Britton and that Brian Lee of the 16 car. Right now as they run, Brian Lee is 5 points behind Ben Britton.
Yeah, wow. Like I said, it could be a big shake-up here tonight in the point standings, if it ends this way, with Ben Britton moving back into the number 1 position, like you said there, Stephen, and unfortunately Brian Lee, falling to be the man chasing once again now. So definite chain of events, and as we got the 1 to go there, it looks like they're lining up, getting double file again. But unfortunate events for tonight on Brian Lee, as he just happened to be the wrong place at the wrong time on that one.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, and he's got in 21st place right now. If you recall back to the Thursday race, we had the same kind of problem here late in the race. Well, I was able to restart in 21st and finish 10th due to the wrecks on the white flag. So, you don't just throw it in there yet, throw the towel in yet, because it's possible.
Right you are, and here we got the green flag now. The flies in the air, and Travis McKinney leading them down into turn one on that inside line. Got Ben Bando powering up there on that outside. Looks like Jeremy Enix at 29 may have wheel hopped it once again, gets down into one and slides way up the track, and looks like we got a spinner right there. The 03 of Bruce Turner goes around right there in front of the field, and caution is out once again. You know, this whole race may be playing into the hands right now of Travis McKinney with all these cautions. Talk about track position at the right time. Looks like McKinney is having quite a few breaks fall his way as we're going to end up going into a green-white checker here.
Yeah, this is getting pretty late in the race, and this is not what the 33 of Ben Bando was looking for, and it just goes to show that track position does matter. I mean, especially right now this late in the race. 42 is leading the field. And what are you going to do, though? The only way Bando's going to be able to make this pass is to get a green flag run in before this is all over.
Yeah, you're right. It's so hard to make that pass up on the outside, especially with caution falling, so quickly. And like we saw in the little bit earlier, even when they were able to run the first green flag lap, being up on that outside, Bando was having some trouble getting around that 42 of Travis McKinney. So, even if Bando can, if it comes down to it, Travis McKinney's been able to hold him off so far on the down on that inside line, as he's got the preferred line here.
Yeah, we're going to show the replay of what just happened a minute ago. Not really sure what happened. We'll have to get that rebound again, but there is definitely carnage on that one.
Wow,
looked like
several cars.
Yeah, it looked like it happened up there in the front with, oh man, looked like the 03 of Bruce Turner, and 34 of Ben Britton and 20 of Jovan Cherry. Look at the top left, or the left of your screen. Yeah, the 03 just looks like he got loose coming out of 2, and the 34 was already there, and he just spun him the rest of the way around.
Yeah, kind of one of those things, too, we were talking about. Looks like they were about to be 4 wide right there, coming down, starting down the backstretch. And, that's one of those things that just ain't going to work here, unfortunately, coming up out of the corners. And there's going to be a lot of cars, though, that were selected in this, unfortunately. And talk about, once again, the horseshoe tonight. That 34 right there, once again, in the mix, but still comes through, still going straight.
He's going to end up passing off that horseshoe one of these days.
I'm pretty sure, speaking of horseshoes, there's one man that would like to have his horseshoe and trade the horseshoe that he has at 23. It looks like our lucky dog was the 64 of John Lawler, so that will put him one lap closer, to getting back on that lead lap, down several laps right now, unfortunately, but still out there and trying to make all that he can possibly out of tonight. So as we come across right there, we'll take lap 300. We'll take the green. So we're coming to a green-white checker here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in tonight's NuffRADIO 301. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this just became a 302 and possibly a 303 as they come and take the green.
Yeah, I got a sneaky suspicion here that we may have some carnage still waiting to happen tonight.
I think you're right. I think that's definitely right. I mean, you look at Brian Lee, who, remember what I spoke about with these late race cautions, that he's been able to make positions. The man is in 15th place position and got another 2 laps to try to get more. So if he has any more cautions, that guy could end up in 10th place or higher and retain. In fact, right now he has retained the lead back from Ben Britton by 3 points.
Yeah, and here we get the green flag as they're coming down the line. Looks like the 42 may have spun the tires there a little bit and kind of checked up the field. So very interesting restart as we head down into turn 1 here. Oh, we got cars around. Looks like there should be another caution here. I'm not sure if the F caution is out. Not sure if the 33 may have been in front of the 42 right there.
Speak of 303, here we come. these guys are battling for everything they can get, and it's one of those things that cautions breed cautions, and there's not much you can do about it at this point.
Yeah, definitely nothing can be done about that. These guys are trying to race for all the positions that they possibly can get at this point, but, unfortunate chain of events right there that are leading to a lot of these cautions. Good, hard racing as it goes, however, there's still more racing that's going to come, and at this point, these guys running for every position they can up towards the front, they're going to take a few chances they normally wouldn't have, like we talked about during the early parts of the race. But, a lot of these guys, a lot of cars still left in this one. And you talked about there, Stephen, Brian Lee making up some positions. He moved with that one. He moved himself up 2 more positions getting through there, bringing himself up to 13th position now. So, that's a couple more points he can still, salvage out of tonight's event. But we also go back and talk about, one of the guys who was down the biggest most of the night, a couple of laps or more, multiple laps, and got himself a couple of waiver rounds, got a lucky dog, finally got back on the lead lap. Ed Wilson, too, has moved that number 88 machine up into a 23rd position after running back near 30th most of the night.
Yeah, that's definitely a good job on him by getting back on the lead lap and doing what he's got to do to get there, and staying out and doing waiver rounds and lucky dogs, putting himself in position for that. But we want to come back to the lead. That it looked like the 33 was ahead of the 42 when the caution came out. So that puts a crinkle in the neck of the 42 car. He had to stay out in front of Ben Bando to be able to get this race win, I think. So I think 33 is just going to go ahead and take off here. I think there's going to be more possibly carnage in the back, but you never know. The 42 may be able to capitalize on the outside and make that first pass out there for the lead.
One of the things I was noticing there, you talk about that too, Stephen, but look up there who's with him on that outside line now, that 67 of Kevin Buchanan, who we talked a lot about earlier in the race. He's made his way back up to the front too now, running in 4th position, but I'm sure to say that if that 42 has a rough restart here again this time, because it looked like he spun the tires the last time, but 67 is going to give him a nice little push down into turn 1.
Yeah, and we spoke about the 67 and 42 having issues tonight, so it's definitely good to see them back up, that they were able to get back up there as we take the green flag.
Yeah, as we take the green flag, looks like everyone got a good restart there. Wow. 33 was way down low to block the 29. He was trying to make a move down on the inside.
Yeah, hitting bushes and mud.
Yeah, and doing so, it's way up the track now as the 29. Wow, looks like bounced off the wall there. Looks like McKinney bounced off the wall, matter of fact, as we got another caution.
Yeah, and I believe this is going to take us into our last green light checker. This is going to be it. I mean, once they get done here, they're going to be, if another caution comes out, the person who lead up the time will be our race winner.
Yeah, and that was quite a move there by the 29 on that restart to drop down back quickly down into that outside or inside line, and trying to make that move down on the inside to take away the position and the lead from Ben Bando, which did cause Bando to get into that corner extremely hot and slide way up the track, and it was had that not had that caution right there, it was about to become a very interesting drag race down the backstretch.
There's no doubt. We come into 305 or 308 now in overtime here at NuffRADIO 301. Rock your face off. I think they are.
That they are. So does that mean we need to rename the race down to the NuffRADIO 309?
It might be, and it might need to be racing face off, because they are definitely doing it.
Yeah, these guys are laying it all on the line now at the late stages of the race, going for all that they can possibly get. As we just saw with Jeremy Enix right there, he just like we said earlier in the race, the only way I think we're going to beat Ben Bando at 33 is to get him on these restarts, and right now is the perfect scenario for anybody to be able to beat Bando, because they definitely weren't going to be able to do it under, long greens, but with all these restarts, Travis McKinney was able to hold him off for about 3 in a row, but that last one he was able to get around him, and now Jeremy Enix is trying to figure out, how to move himself into that position to do the exact same thing and capitalize on it.
Absolutely, and we saw him try to capitalize it on that restart by going to the low side and getting below the 33, but the 33 went ahead and closed the door on Jeremy Enix going into 1, which is what caused the 33 to push up. So if this happens again, and I guarantee the 29 is going to be laying on the bumper of the 33 going into 1. If I could, I wouldn't have it off of his bumper until 1, and then, it might push him up into the 42, but if you're going to get a win, that's about in third position. That's the way it's going to have to be done, is just give him a nice bump and send him in, packing up into the top side.
Exactly, and on this restart, Enix was off of his bumper a little bit on that one, as he had pre-planned, I'm sure, to make the move quickly down on that inside, but wouldn't surprise me a bit to see them very tightly packed together on this restart when the green flag drops, just like you said, and put a little bumper, pushing down into that turn, to try to get the little bit of advantage that you can get, because, he was able to cause Bando to miss his bump there getting down into turn 1 that last time. As we get the green flag here and head off into turn 1, but Jeremy is looking for that inside once again, going down into 1, but isn't able to get there this time as the 33 still slides up into 42. McKinney gives him a couple of really good shots heading off into 1.
Yeah, he sure does. But the 42's got enough amounts of damage that he's just not able to capitalize on, and Jeremy gets to the inside. Letting Bando go ahead and clear and take the lead as we come to the 1 to go this time by.
Yeah, and the unfortunate too with Bando sliding up right there, they told the 42 to have to actually check up and get stuck on that high side. So, these guys, there's some cars going beating and banging on each other quite a bit out there, but this one's kind of settled down now as Travis McKinney has been relegated back to the 5th place position, and I don't think Jeremy Enix is going to have enough in this car to challenge for that number 1 position and make it down to the end as Ben Bando's taking up the second flag right here and take home the win here at the NuffRADIO. I guess we would call this one the 310.
This is 310, absolutely. There was a lot of cars coming around, but the leader took the checker flag the white flag, which kept it green to the end, and the race officials tried to get a green race in.
And to go back to what you were saying a little bit earlier, Stephen, Brian Lee comes home in 8th place in front of Ben Britton tonight.
Yeah, and that with that happening, Ben Britton lost 1 point tonight, and that just goes to show 1 point matters. I mean, you're talking about leading 1 lap, which I don't believe Ben Britton did tonight. And had he led that 1 lap, he would have been able to go ahead and keep the position that he has, but instead he's losing 1 point as Ben Bando, the race winner, doing his burnout at the start-finish line.
Yeah, Ben Bando is doing some burning the tires down on this thing. Looks like the 88 of this just got stopped a little short of finishing up the race tonight, unfortunately for him, after having such a good run throughout the night and battling back as the night went on. But he's sitting there just past the quick finish line with that engine not running. So, but Ben Bando lighting them up tonight, celebrating this win. Definitely had the.
What a great job that he did going into this race, led most of the laps, and definitely knows how to celebrate.
Yeah, seems like looks like Ben might have had his nerves though rattled just a little bit on that last restart as he overshot that corner though. But overall, I mean, the young man brought it home, done a great job all night, led the most laps, so well-deserved victory here as he drove his as you said earlier, drive your face off, so to speak. He done a good job with it. But we're going to head off into a quick commercial break here. We'll be back with your top 3 here tonight. Down here in pit lane and also in victory lane with Ben Bando, driver of that number 33. So stay tuned for a race interview. We'll be right back here on NuffWORLD TV.
Are you looking to start your own professional internet radio station the easy way? Sam Vibe was specifically designed for you. From the makers of Sam Broadcaster, Sam Vibe takes advantage of the cloud to let you focus on what is important, managing and running your station. There are 5 simple steps to get started with Sam Vibe. 1. Sign up for a free account at NuffWORLD.com. No credit card information is required to get a free account. 2. Download and install Sam Vibe. 3. Check your email to retrieve your account information and login details. 4. Run Sam Vibe and enter your username and password. 5. The Sam Vibe Quick Start Wizard shows you the first steps to start your station. Simply upload your music, turn on your station, and tune in. Too easy? Don't worry, Sam Vibe caters for the needs of both novice and professional broadcasters. Sound exciting? Give it a try. Sign up for free now at samvibe.com to experience how broadcasting should be.
Alright, and welcome back here to Loudon, New Hampshire at New Hampshire Speedway for the NuffRADIO 301, or as we should, I guess, rename it now, the NuffRADIO 310, where you will rock your face off, presented by NuffWORLD TV. I'm sitting down here in Victory Lane right now with the driver of the number 33, Ben Bando. Kind of give us a guide through your night tonight, Ben.
Deucey, it was a great night. The car was on rails. I mean, looked like at the beginning there, McKinney, I believe, was the only guy that seemed like he'd have a chance on the short run. My car was just so good. And on that first pit stop, it looked like coming out of his pit box, he spun out, hit the inside wall, and he struggled all night. And that car was just so good, nobody could touch us. I mean, it's probably the best performance I've had all year. It was just dominating. It was awesome.
Right now, as it came down, we talked about throughout the night, it seemed like your car was just dominating over especially the long runs. It seemed like the short runs, it took the car a little bit longer to, per se, get up to speed. But once you got on the long runs, you were able to pull away and leave everyone. And myself and Steven had even alluded to back around lap 200 or so that possibly the only chance anybody would have of beating you was getting those late race cautions, kind of how it played out anyway. But what was your thoughts and such as those late race cautions kept playing out like that, and you got stuck on that outside line trying to get around the 42 of Travis McKinney?
Oh yeah, there at the end, I was really worried. My teammates were trying to calm me down in that, but we just weren't getting any, not even a lap in to get a chance at him. I know McKinney, I think he was on 2 tires. I know I was way better than him, and there was a couple times where I was almost in front of him and the caution came out, and luckily right there, the caution before the last one, I got in front of him probably by a nose and ended up taking that lead, and I knew it as long as I didn't overdrive one, which I did the first time, and almost split up in front of him. But we ended up coming home, but it was scary at the end. I would not have been happy if I came home in anything but first with that car we had today.
Now that seemed like once you were able to get that first place position, on that caution, and you were able to move back down that inside line on the ensuing restart, seemed like the 29 Enix kind of had a heck of a run on you. Took that inside line there, and did that throw off? Kind of looked like to us up here in the booth, it kind of threw off your line getting into one and such, and looked like it overheated. It kind of messed some things up for you there as far as the rhythm of what it might have been.
Well, my third gear was a little short, and on that restart going in one, I started revving out, and I got scared, and I put it in fourth, which then it caused me to overdrive the corner massively. But luckily, I was able to get down in front of them. But yeah, that's the reason I ended up overdriving, because I had my gears all messed up, and I just got scared and just overreacted. I should have just held it in third. I would have been fine, but it's all good.
Well, definitely a very dominating performance here tonight, NuffRADIO 301. But tonight you led 223 of the 310 laps. So we'll turn the mic over to you, and what have you got to say for our mass audience out there?
Well, I'd just like to thank all you guys for broadcasting the race. I'm not exactly sure what the sponsor is for this race. I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank all my teammates over there at America, Tony Ball, Bruce Turner, and Christian Vasquez, and Louis Bussey. He couldn't make it today, which was a disappointment. We probably could have battled one out again, but thank all my teammates, you guys, and everybody in the league. Thank you.
All right, congratulations to tonight's race winner, bringing it home in the number 1 position, the number 33, driven by Ben Bando. Let me switch over here. I've got Mr. Dale Reynolds standing here beside me, that he number 27 tonight. Brought home a third place finish tonight, Dale, but seemed like it was one of those things you had to battle your butt off, so to speak, tonight to get that third place.
Yes, we did, DC. Yeah, it was not one of our best runs, and to be perfectly honest, we haven't run at New Hampshire very much. Obviously, as you guys know, usually I'm always in New Hampshire for the race for the VSU Cup race, and when we unloaded, I mean, it was completely new to me. I've never run here, and we had a package, and the package was decent, but it was not anywhere near where we finished. We were at best probably about a 7th through 12th place car for most of the night. It was a battle. We went up and down the field a couple times, and we were very, very loose at the beginning of the race, and we tightened it up. But when we tightened it up, our center the corner was very, very, very tight, and we couldn't make up really much any progress. So, we have a little bit of work to do in New Hampshire, but obviously it turned out very well. If somebody told me I was going to finish third tonight, I wouldn't have believed them at all. I really think that we only had like a 7th through 12th place car the whole night.
Now, with the ensuing action there towards the end, and all the late race cautions that we did have, running from the positions, you found yourself in, on the restarts and stuff, because we always talk about track position being, one of the important things, especially at a track like this, with everything going in front of you, kind of give us an idea of what some of the thoughts and feelings going through your mind with the spins and all happening right in front of you.
Oh, it was crazy. I knew that when that caution came out with about 15 or 10 laps to go or something like that, I knew it was going to become a free for all, and that's usually what happens in New Hampshire. It's a short track, so my mind was racing every time. Even if we went into turn 1 on a restart, first off, you try to hit through all the gears on the restart, and then you have to also look behind you to make sure nobody's going to make a move on you, but then you can't run over the guy in front of you. So there was a couple wrecks that were very, very close, and we almost got taken out with them. And I do my typical thing where you just turn it hard left and stand on the throttle and just pray to God that you don't get in it.
And it seems like that's the same strategy more than just you adapted tonight, is to see some of those cars coming through the massive crashes there at the end. But congratulations, Dale, on a third place finish tonight. You definitely, as you said, drove your butt off to get that one. So turn the mic over to you for a couple minutes, let you, thank your sponsors and such.
Well, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you. First and foremost, I want to say hello to my lovely girlfriend, Nicole. I love you, baby. Thank you for watching. I want to thank NuffRADIO for sponsoring this race. It was a good race for the most part, obviously until the end, but that's depending on how you look at it. I want to thank all my sponsors. I want to thank EPR for building such a great car, even though I didn't have any experience driving this track. It really helped out a whole lot. Kevin Kelly really worked with me very closely to make sure that we were comfortable. All the sponsors in the league, Valley Sports University, and the whole list goes on, Potomac and Diamond Medical, everybody that is willing to put money into this league. And like I said before, I know that sponsorship dollars are very, very hard to come by these days, so I definitely appreciate everybody who wants to put some money in this league so that we can do what we do the most, and that's enjoy racing. And also want to thank you guys on the broadcast. You guys put on a great broadcast every time, and like I said, I really don't know how we finished third. It was a struggle, but God willing, we avoided all the wrecks at the end, and here we are. We made it.
Well, congratulations to Dale Reynolds on a third place finish tonight. Definitely, like he said, watched him out there. Didn't have the car he thought he was going to end up with the finish with. So, congratulations on a third place. And I'll bring in here our fourth place finisher tonight, Mr. Kevin Buchanan. Welcome up here to the booth. First of all, Kevin, and kind of take us through your night.
They're a pretty decent car most of the night. Actually ended up getting some damage there towards the second half of the race. Bounced off the wall a couple times, and it gave me some pretty decent damage there on the right side of the car. Ended up falling back. Stayed within the top 20 though, which was pretty good for us. Just basically battled through until the last 35, 40 laps or so, and just kind of stayed up front.
Now, going back to, I think it was somewhere around the lap 100 area time frame. I can't remember exactly what the laps were, but you decided to stay out when everyone else pitted. I mean, was that a strategy type deal that you were just kind of testing to see, what the car would be able to do at that point with the clean air and such and being up front, or was that something that you really felt the car could compete up there and decided to stick it out?
Well, we felt that we didn't really run too many laps on the tires, so we thought that we'd stay out and try to hold the track position and see what we could make out of it.
Right, and you were able to, like I say, it looked like the biggest most of the night. You were in the back there for a little bit, and then you were able to get up there, lead a bunch of laps, and then seems like you had some issues there towards the 200 or so, and had to pass a lot of cars to get back up in the front. What was the strategy call made tonight to get to, back up to where you wound up finishing there in fourth place?
Just trying to stay out of the trouble zones. We had an extended pit stop. We had to use the restroom, to be honest with you, and that put us back in the field a little bit, and then just trying to keep safe and work our way towards the front. We made a little bit of contact with the driver of the number 1 car. Got to apologize to that driver for that mess, and after that we just tried to keep our nose clean and just try to avoid everything if anything happened in front of us.
All right. Well, congratulations once again. I say on a hard-fought fourth place finish tonight. Looks like you guys had your hands full with the track and such. But as previous, with the other guys, I'll turn the mic over to you for a second or for a couple minutes there. If, any sponsors you want to thank, any friends you want to send a shout out to, this is your time to shine, Kevin.
I'd just like to send a shout out to all my fellow drivers over at Premium Racing Online. The guys over there are great. Help me out with setups whenever needed, and don't really have a custom paint scheme to run over here at Nuff yet, so don't really have any sponsors on the car, but just want to thank all my buddies over there at Premium Racing Online.
Right there, and then there you have it, from down here with the first, third, and fourth place finishers here tonight at the NuffRADIO 301 presented by NuffWORLD TV. For myself and Stephen Mahana, we definitely want to say a thank you, to all the sponsors out there who, help pay the bills, so to speak, over here, such as TeamSpeak, Diamond Medical, Spatial.net, Potomac, TV's Creative Designs, of course, our main Cup Series sponsor, Valley Sports University, VSU, Halls on Post, Team Sidious, Starting Park Blog, and also Vine 4 Design. I think I've kind of got the most of them out on that list there. We definitely appreciate what you guys do to help us out. And, kind of after tonight's mix-up, Stephen, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you for a moment. Talk about the points championship as it stands, because it was bouncing around quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, we talked about it pretty much all race long. I mean, with Ben Britton having an issue early on, and then Brian Lee being able to capitalize on that for the longest time. And then Brian Lee having issues there late, and then he finished well. I believe he finished right ahead of Ben Britton, so he was able to go ahead and put another point on Ben Britton, which takes Ben Britton back to 10th place, second and 10 points behind. Justin Barr and Christian Vasquez haven't moved any positions, where you got Danny Gutierrez, who moved up one into the 5th place. Dwayne Wright moved up one into 6th place. And then you also have Dale, who moved up one also to 7th place. Then you got Frankie Simontu, who took a hit tonight. He went back 3 positions with a a mid-race exit. And you have Chuck Garcia, who made up one, and Benj, who lost one. They basically swapped spots. There's a big points from 4th to about 8th place. They're 107 to 117, so 10 points separating those guys. Be interesting to watch them as they go throughout the rest of the preseason, the regular season. So, again, like Ducey said, we'd like to thank everybody who raced tonight, as also our sponsors and NuffRADIO for coming on board on this. Remember, you can catch it on TuneIn with your phone. You can also listen online. About anywhere you can think of, you can listen to it.
Yeah, definitely there. Definitely thank you. I did forget to thank our prime sponsor for tonight, the NuffRADIO. Sponsoring the NuffRADIO 301. Definitely some great music to be heard over there. Take it with you, as Stephen said earlier. Wherever you go. So chance to always be able to stream. Whether it be on the computer or whether it be on your smartphone, whatever the case may be. There's apps there. You also got TuneIn Radio. You can download that app and catch us there. So from all of the guys over here at NuffWorld and from NuffWorld TV, I want to say thank you, guys coming out here, spending your time with us on a Saturday night. We're going to head out of here and hope to see you on our next broadcast, which I think may end up being Daytona next week. So that could be a real wild one. But on behalf of all the staff here at NuffWorld TV, thanks for watching tonight. We'll be back here, and thank you, and have a good night.
Are you looking to start your own professional internet radio station the easy way? Sam Vibe was specifically designed for you. From the makers of Sam Broadcaster, Sam Vibe takes advantage of the cloud to let you focus on what is important: managing and running your station. There are 5 simple steps to get started with Sam Vibe. 1. Sign up for a free account at SamVibe.com. No credit card information is required to get a free account. 2. Download and install Sam Vibe. 3. Check your email to retrieve your account information and login details. 4. Run Sam Vibe and enter your username and password. 5. The Sam Vibe Quick Start Wizard shows you the first steps to start your station. Simply upload your music, turn on your station, and tune in. Too easy? Don't worry, Sam Vibe caters for the needs of both novice and professional broadcasters. Sound exciting? Give it a try. Sign up for free now at SamVibe.com to experience how broadcasting should be.